It's the Hoosier Sophisticate Show. Question all the things that you know. Steve likes the weed.
Steve likes the weed.
Tell you about DMT.
The DMT.
Hoosier Sophisticate Show. The Hoosier Sophisticate Show. Hoosiers with the dream, sophisticated blasphemy. It's the Hoosier Sophisticate Show. Question all the things that you know. So let's set our minds free for the singularity. It's the Hoosier Sophisticate Show. The Hoosier Sophisticate Show.
Welcome.
Oh, I moved your camera though, Mike. Sorry.
Ladies, gentlemen,
Get rid of that.
non-binaries,
Yep.
sentient artificial intelligence, flora, fauna, anima, animus, and all of you alike in this beautiful multiverse to the Hoosier Sophisticate Show.
Woo!
Memorial
We
Day
did it.
edition. It's Memorial Day.
I forgot we had a show.
Yeah, half of our fans aren't tuned in right now because they're currently in a pool at Lake of the Ozarks.
Oh man, good for you, lake people. Good for you, lake people, doing it up big.
Not gonna keep me from shaking my ass at Senior Frogs or
Dude,
what
they
are
love
Gator
it.
Shady Gators.
Yeah, dude, and the fucking like pit bull is on in the background. Like, Mr. Worldwide,
Mr. Worldwide.
Spreading disease worldwide. That was great. I don't know. It's a good test. It's a good test to see what happens.
We'll find out, won't we?
And I was like, well, chlorine's probably okay. Yeah, I'm sure that's killing it.
I would think.
I don't know.
Maybe.
And they're chugging just booze the whole time, and alcohol's supposed to be really good for it. I don't know. I'm with you. I'm with you, Lake of the Ozark people.
What a
I'm
week,
with you.
Steve-O.
What a week.
What we haven't talked in a couple of days. What's been going on with you, man?
I don't know if you saw my episode with Nate on cannabis.
I did. I quite enjoyed it.
It was fun.
You
He's
guys
good.
got to break down some fun movies. I was
good.
like cheering on because so many of the movies, like you guys had some deep cuts in there, and he actually I think compelled me to watch R.I.P.D.
I'm going to watch
because
R.I.P.D.
I'd seen that many times, and I'm like, I love Jeff Bridges.
I like.
It's Ryan Reynolds too, right?
Yeah, I like
it's impossible
Ryan
not to like
Reynolds,
Ryan
great.
Reynolds. He's the most charming,
that
beautiful man in
bastard.
Hollywood.
Bastard.
But I just never quite was like, I don't know if I could do that one. You know, it's like a ghost police force.
When
but
he was explaining it,
if
was
Nate
great.
says that it's good, I'm in.
I'll watch it.
I'll check it out.
I'm gonna have to watch Godfather 3 too. I told him I
Listen,
I would.
okay, I was like kind of trying to interject there because you said that you had watched Godfather and Scarface,
in the same night.
but not Godfather 2?
Oh, I've
Okay,
never
well,
seen
Godfather 2 is the best of the trilogy.
Is it really?
Yeah,
Like, 'cause people have said that.
easily the best of the trilogy.
Okay.
So like, 3
3
is like don't do that and then never see 2 because that would like 3 might turn you like fuck that, I'm not going back to Godfather.
Okay.
You give 2 a chance and then
I've heard 2 is the only sequel. It's almost as good, if not better, than the first
I
one.
don't know if it's the only one, but it's up there.
Well, that's,
that's
you
a
know,
question
guy
we could
touted
ponder
all the
though.
time.
Rocky 2's one to probably be up there.
Dude, all Rocky 4 is the best.
Sure,
The
yeah.
fourth one is
No,
the
no,
best.
I love Clubber Lang.
I
Like,
love
if we're
Clubber
being
Lang.
honest,
I
like-
love Clubber Lang.
Clever, what do you got? What's your prediction for tonight's?
Pain. Yeah, it's so good. But yeah, so we talked about kind of what's going on in the Missouri cannabis landscape. Kind of got to know him a little bit and how, you know, his heart's always in the right place, being for the patients. And I think a lot of the cannabis B team media, that's what it's all about. Evolution Mag, Greenway. We're not exactly like, oh, we're sponsored by Pepsi and Coke and Monsanto and like, you know, it's not that we're not channel 452.
Listen, don't piss in their ears and tell them it's raining. You're a fucking cannabis sellout. Okay.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm fucking. You see these chairs? See these antique chairs?
Yeah.
$1 million a piece. Shit. But
Your
so-
episode was awesome.
Yeah, we got into that a little bit. Streamed it on Twitch and YouTube. You can check it out there. Now Twitch is think they'll hold our videos for 30 days now. Change
Yeah,
the
we
setting. I
didn't
don't
have them
understand
saving,
it.
so you were only seeing them live before. If you don't want to go
any
to
of it.
Twitch, but you want to check it out, you can go to HoosierSophisticate.com.
Do that.
And if
Do
you go to
that.
HoosierSophisticate.com, you can stream it right there from our page.
It was on there. I saw your gal from Soulful Cannabis, actually, Cindy. I saw Jennifer Barra over the weekend. But back to the Missouri cannabis landscape, we were in a little bit of a spat on Facebook, which Facebook sometimes is like, I never get in arguments on Facebook. When I get into an argument, I know I'm in a bad mood, and I just want to fight somebody for a minute, and I'm like, fuck you. And then by the end of it, I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm
Yeah,
I'm
sure.
an asshole. 20 minutes
Sure,
later, like, fuck
sure.
this guy. Jenny will be like, what are you doing? I'm like, just in the corner of the kitchen, like,
Brooding.
Oh, I'm
What am I
lambasting
doing?
this bastard. I'm changing shit. I'm flipping the fucking script.
I'm making change in the world.
So we got called out for being kind of supporters of big cannabis agendas, and the original thing was Mo Can Trade
Yeah, it's worth talking
lobbied
about.
against caps.
Yes. Against lifting the caps.
Against lifting the caps, which caps is a weird term because it's not really caps. It's like they put mandatory minimums in the language of
Sure.
the bill, but they're talking about we need more licensing, and COVID has really fucked everything up too as far as DHSS, and there was a big hubbub about which industry supports what and who to follow and who's a part of what industry, and you support that lady who's also over here, and that guy, he runs this place, and he's a suit, and he's in it for money. And I used to have kind of like the poor man's mentality when I was a little younger, 18, 19, 20. I'm like, the fucking rich dude lives in Ladue. Fuck that dude. He's got all the money. Him and what's called beeps. Fuck that. Fuck. I'm going. So the Ladue people, I was always like, man, fuck them. But no, most of those people worked hard for the shit they have, and they, did what they had to do. I don't want to hate on those people, and we're naive to think that the suits were going to come in to cannabis and try to make some money. That's what they were going to do. That's what happens. It's chat not coming up. Mike, hit us with the chat.
Yeah.
Main, no chat.
Unless it was duplicated. Yeah.
Oh, the browser. Put the browser above Stephen Craig.
There you go.
Drag it above it.
Nope.
No,
just above Stephen
right
Craig.
above, just above Stephen Craig.
Nope. Just
right, like a centimeter up.
Just one up. There you go.
Just one up. Actually, drag Stephen Craig down.
There you
below
go.
Bowser.
Just one down.
Yep.
There you go. Right there. Ah, there we go. All right.
Hey, look at me. I'm gone though. Hold on. Let me switch with this.
There you go. Oop,
We're back.
It's all right. We're good.
perfect.
Oh, look at us. Switching on the fly. There are all of our comments. Mike, you want to read a couple of those? We don't need to see you. The camera will be messed up. So.
Yeah, no. So we got some comments. I'm going to read from over here.
Please
we
do.
got, from Facebook, Rachel Marie replying to Rachel, that it did. So we got past the
That it
hassle
did. Way to go.
overdose. Get the chat going, Mike. Come on, bro. I know, man. We're working on it. Working
yes.
on
Give
it.
him the business.
Hey, man, I wasn't here last week, you know. So.
I know, he's a little
let's
rusty.
See, Christopher Rachel Crawford replying to Rachel Marie, saying, brought this ratchet Rachel out swinging from the fences.
Ratchet Rachel out swinging.
Tiffany Jones. Let's see, Rachel Marie, loved your video today. The state crapped it. That's from Corinne. Hi, everybody. Hey, guys.
Hey,
how
hey.
y'all doing? Love ya. Yeah, it's all good stuff here. RIPD is a masterpiece. I got that. Was
That's
from,
Nate.
On
That's
Cannabis,
Nate
wasn't it?
right there.
Yep, I remember that.
A masterpiece. I think multiplicity is a
I got
masterpiece, so I get
with
it.
him.
I get it.
I got juiced because Little Giants was on Amazon Prime the other day, and I'm like, intimidation? I'll show you intimidation. That poor kid. You know what happened to him?
No. I know he's a Kansas City kid, though.
Thank you from whoever that is on Twitch. I got a lot of the St. Boniface kids going,
Yeah.
dude, I remember that. And I'm like,
Yep.
if the least thing I can do is be a little bit of like a shiny object to the people of St. Boniface.
Oh,
because
buddy.
we were so little. We only had 12, 13 kids in each class. And to actually make a little something of ourselves from St. Boniface, because you knew half the class was
Sure.
they're going to end up
They
in
were
the
done.
goddamn sewer. Face down. You knew it was going to happen. That's just the thing. You knew it. We all accepted it. We just did it. But yeah, so the video is great. We're working on editing a few minor details of that. We'll release his. His is from people came up to me talking about that because we released it during the show, talking about that old neighborhood. Jeff, my brother-in-law, his family's from Resurrection.
Sure.
Like,
Well, and today is like a significant day for the Resurrection Parish because Memorial Day was my freaking Christmas. You know, like Memorial Day was when we had our school picnic every year. Every year it was Memorial Day, so it was like we were already out of school, but man, I could not wait for Memorial Day every year. For me, it was I couldn't understand. I had friends that didn't go to school with me. Like they're like, yeah, we go to Six Flags on Memorial Day. I'm like, fucking lame. You know, the resurrection picnic's going on, bud. So yeah, I'm excited to share it because I got a lot of comments on it too. Just people, even Mikey. Dude, Mikey and I grew up blocks from one another and never knew it. Like, he's from the neighborhood, you know, just right over on Montana, babe.
That wild man?
That wild man right there.
Oh, Jesus. I can't believe you didn't hear him in the
So
neighborhood
back to the selling out.
Yes. You've sold out.
So,
You've sold your soul
certainly I've sold out. Yeah, I'm a big time sellout, man. My fucking pocket's ripped off of my hoodie right here. Listen, the idea that we've sold out is laughable at best. And it was like this weird line of reasoning too, where it was like, well, you go to their events. And what was interesting was I was not brought into this conversation. By the grace of Mark Zuckerberg, I'm essentially Craig A. Kohler's shadow banned. And so I saw you getting tagged in this thing. And when I first saw it, I'm like, oh man.
I know, because your name got mentioned a few times, but it wouldn't allow it to be tagged.
You handled it like
Thank
an
you.
absolute boss, man.
Well, thanks,
like
buddy.
you really were handling it. Well, you were handling it like you say all the time. Duncan Trussell has taught you that the things that make you angry, the things that challenge you, they're mirrors. And that's exactly how you were handling it. And you said something that was the most important part of the exchange that seemed to just keep missing the attackers'
purview.
Yes. And that was, I'll go to every cannabis event ever as long as it provides the opportunity for us to be introduced to people like John Matthews and Samantha Matthews.
That was
and so that we can
shit.
connect people that can provide medicine to 3-year-old girls who, by the way, are shrinking cancer tumors with cannabis. You're goddamn right. I'm going to go to those events.
Dude, and another challenging thing on top of that is they're meeting with the doctors and the conversations that they can't have with the doctors knowing that the oil is having some sort of effect on the tumors, but still having to follow chemo and the protocol of radiation without accepting the fact that there is this alternate medicine that's in the mix. That's still not being discussed. And when I was talking to John, I was fucking livid that the doctors, because he's smart. He brings it up as, well, radiation can be bad for the brain. CBD, THC have been known to be neuroprotectants, which the government actually patented the cannabis. They tried to patent, I think do have a patent on it, THC or CBD, where it's a neuroprotectant. So he's asking, he's like, hey, what about that? And they're like, we can't really talk about that. We can't discuss that. That's not something we can. Are you fucking kidding me?
Right.
We're not going to give them the best tools we can. And that's what happens at these conferences. They cost a lot of money. Some of them are free. Some of them are right in the middle of the road. Who the fuck cares? Because at the end of the day, if you called any of these people who are throwing an event and said, I don't have the money.
That's right.
I need 5 minutes of Sue Sisley's time. And they'd be like, yes, we got you.
Yeah.
You know what?
That's certainly
we'll go
been the
above
case.
and the beyond and introduce you to Sue. And you can talk to her for 5 minutes. And Sue would sit there and talk. Sue had a room at the first MoCan BizCon where she was sitting in there with people talking about how they can treat
She
their
was sitting
kids.
with Aiden. She was sitting with Aiden
yes.
just to give Ashley a break. Like
Unbelievable.
That's the kind of people that we're surrounded with, even at the highest
But it was
levels.
$200 a ticket.
Listen,
man.
and I get it, man. First off, I don't think the average person understands the cost involved.
No, I didn't.
With throwing. Well, we got a pretty good look at it trying to throw MoCan BizCon. Just feeding people.
No, not MoCan BizCon.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. The Missouri
Project for 22 conference. What was it called?
Medical Cannabis Conference. Project
Thank
for
you.
22 Medical Cannabis Conference.
We need to mix up these.
All right, so
names a
there's
little bit.
and then that
God
brings
dang
us
it.
into the next point.
Damn
But
it.
we did. We saw the cost, and then you think about how big and how expansive Union Station was. There were booths as far as you can see. Every one of the conference halls had very valuable conversations being had, whether it was professional athletes, whether it was doctors, whether it was scientists, whether it was people in the industry that have, great success in other states. Like, yeah, we're going to go. When people ask us to cover something, to cover an event as media, we're going to go. By the way, we've gone to every cannabis event we've been invited to. Every single one. I don't think we've missed one.
No, everyone that we could make,
I don't think there's been a significant, like a big, I don't want to say significant. They're all significant. I don't think there's been a big conference anywhere in the state we haven't been to. We've traveled to Kansas City multiple times. We've traveled to the Lake of the Ozarks for a pre-part. I've gone to Springfield for a deal down there at Riyadh. Like, we have tried to be wherever we can to have these conversations with as many people as we can.
We're about to go back to the Lake of the Ozarks.
Yeah, in
Maybe.
some capacity. Yeah, in some capacity we're going to. But the point is that we're not playing favorites. We're not being paid an exorbitant amount of money we're not being paid any money to go to these events. And it's one matter of fact, many times we are way out of pocket to go to these events.
No doubt.
Several hundred, if not thousands of dollars.
Craig is working his other job while we're shuffling through stuff, trying to get live set up.
So
here's the deal. We got into this. We got into the radio. I wanted to ask him about ayahuasca.
Yeah.
I had a radio show where I was like, maybe I can eat bananas, and then my voice will go in people's cars. You know what I mean?
Sure.
That's where it started, was like, pew, okay, I can pay for that. Great. Let's do it. Then we started talking to patients, and we're like, oh, fuck. Because I've always been back and forth in my mind. Did weed ruin my life? Should I have been on Wall Street? You know what I mean? Was that the deal? Did I? No, I just I figured it all out right around the same time as psychedelics and cannabis all came into my life. It was a big whirlwind. So to get, with our show, we thought maybe we'll get a dispensary if we keep talking about weed. And then we're like, no, that world's going to be pretty
Yeah, we didn't want any part of
insane.
it.
No, we'll just keep. Then we started to meet the people, and we're like, we just want to keep with the people and getting patients medicine. Connect him to her to him, get a couple sponsors to pay for our fucking cameras, and move the fuck on. Because Craig's vision, I don't want to speak for him, but like healing trauma, psychedelics are a whole new world of being able to deal with the things that we're trying to deal with on a constant basis. And from the movie from Shock to Awe, I believe they said cannabis is like putting green lenses over some of your biggest problems. It makes everything a little prettier, and you're kind of like, okay, this is a little better.
a lot more manageable.
Yes, but when ayahuasca is like windshield wipers going squeegeeing.
Yeah, not without the work. Yeah, not without the work.
doubt.
Yeah,
Like
there's
putting
you have to
intention-
pay on the front end on that one.
No doubt. So we love the cannabis industry. We love the people. Our main thing now, spread information, get patients in contact with caregivers, and make sure the industry isn't constantly fucking people over, which people are going to fuck people over. We're not in charge of that. We're not.
Yeah.
Maybe we can be a little lighthouse or something shining a light on it. But overall, I want to get into the outdoors life. Me and Craig can maybe go take a trip, smoke a little weed, fish a little bit, go outside, get our kids involved with some of this shit. Craig is with the Missouri Psychedelic Podcast and the conversations you're
I'm gonna
having.
kick that back up,
like
yeah.
that is the future of where we want to go. So this cannabis is beautiful. But we feel like we're beating our heads against a wall sometimes because the federal government is still like,
Well, that's illegal. And federally, it's still illegal, and all this other bullshit is going on.
we just love the cannabis people. We love you,
No doubt.
motherfuckers.
Well, no doubt.
I think about my life 3 years ago and the people I didn't know that I know now. and the value of the Jennifer Barras and
Dude,
Josh Loftuses. And I could sit here all fucking
I came to grips
night.
with that several months ago when we first started planning our wedding.
Yeah.
Because I'm making out a guest list,
Oh,
and
good
people
luck
that
now. I'm
people
glad I
that
got
people
married a
that
long
yeah
time
people
ago.
that I've now come into contact with since we've been doing this. I can't imagine some of them not being there for it.
No doubt.
And people that 3 years ago I would have thought for sure would have been the roll dogs at the like.
You're like, oh,
Well, I
don't
guess
know.
if you want to
Yeah.
come, cool. I haven't seen you for a while, but and it's like to each, we grow up, everybody goes different ways, and things start happening. But especially as I've taken this route, there is a bit of ostracization that goes along. There is a bit of ostracization that goes along with, like choosing to talk about these things on a regular basis.
Yep. Oh, no doubt.
And how our friends of yesteryear can participate in the conversation, with jobs that they have and everything like that.
tough.
Like, it's tough. I get it. There's no hard feelings. I still love you like I always
No
did. It's just a hard feelings. But that's the reality of people that are choosing to work in this space and cover this space, is that it does put you on. It's not
you
as
on the news.
it's not as fringe anymore. It'll put you on the news. It's not as
wish it
fringe as
did.
it was, but it is still a fringe topic.
No
And
doubt.
so, especially when you choose to talk about it all the time,
Yep.
it's simply impossible to cut out major organizations and major events in Missouri. It's a big, it's
And
a lot of information to cover from very few places in a pretty small
it's the
state.
same players.
Everything's crossed over, so you
Everything's
can't be
crossed
mad
over.
at it's. What's so funny is like there's so much crossovers that there's people that are on that MoCan trade board that are also trying to get legislation passed that would compel the government to grant more licenses. So it's difficult. I've lost my cool earlier, months ago. Like maybe the same person got me a little fired up. But the reality is that I went scorched the earth first, and so if he wanted to take a little shot, that's fine. It's just wrong. Like more than anything, like that's why I just kept telling like, hey, I love you where you're at, but you and I think that's what you said. I hear what you're saying. I love you, buddy, but
Yeah.
you couldn't possibly be more
Yes,
wrong.
I disagree with you to the fullest degree, and I actually know because I was a part of MoCan BizCon. I did their social media graphics, and I went to a few of their meetings and saw their little group of fucking hardworking little here is our folder, and we are putting together the very organized small group of people doing this pretty much. Now, if everything works according to plan, we're all going to make a little money.
Yeah,
Great.
maybe.
Does anything ever work to the perfect
Right.
way the fucking business plan was laid out? Not often.
Right.
They put their heart and souls in that shit for families like the Matthews family to be able to talk to. When they got to talk to Wendy Turner and Aiden's Alliance,
Yes.
when they got to talk to Canna Moms, watching from a distance and seeing the faces, and John be like,
no doubt.
we talk about people being able to, in a psychedelic space, holding space, being able to see. I could almost see like,
Relief.
yes,
Yeah.
I've been accepted.
So let's talk about some fucking awesome.
Okay,
Cannabis news,
let's talk some
right?
fucking awesome.
All right. So one of the big stories that's happened in all of weed news throughout the country in the last couple of years, but especially here in Missouri, was Nolan Sousley. In Polk County, I think at CMH Hospital, as he's pretty much on his last days. The police basically came into his hospital room and tried to confiscate his meds. It was a fucking powerful video where Nolan showed to be an unbelievable leader. With his composure and with his plea for compassion and empathy. And those are the types of things that change law enforcement's mind. And so, it was tragic what went down. But the shit that Nolan said, and the video is available out there, guys. If you see, even like Now This Weed covered it. Like it was national, millions of shares, big deal. He was like, man, he was basically saying, let me have some dignity. This is my right. This is my last day's bag. Right here,
He was
this
excellent.
bag goes with me for my last day,
Here-
and I'm not letting you search it. And by God, like I welled up with tears, and I'm watching, and I'm like, fuck yeah, man,
Dude,
fuck yeah.
He got that cop to kind of, when you can get someone to understand.
That's the deal. whether or not the cop was following protocol
Yes.
or not, there
At
were
least-
there were two officers there that were like, "Fuck,
Yes.
I'm on the wrong side of this.
Yep.
I'm
Yep.
on the wrong side of
That's
this. The law is on the wrong side of this."
huge.
It's as powerful
Because it's very easy if he was a dickhead for the cop to be like, fuck that guy.
It's as power totally. You meet
Super
that. You meet
simple.
that with piss and vinegar,
Yep.
and that goes down a completely different way. Last year in August, our buddy Josh from Home Grow Solutions got a message from Scott at Midmo Grow asking if he would take care of Nolan Sousley's plant that he wanted kept when he died. It was in the care of a dear friend of Nolan's, Daniel Eli, sophisticated Hoosier. Shortly before this, before Nolan got too sick, he'd ordered some clones from me of a variety called Pure Tranquility. Well, as it turned out, I had a male of the Tranquility that I was getting ready to pollinate a choice female with.
I love when he talks to
I
me
know,
like that.
I know. So I took clones from Nolan's plant and created F1 seeds. It wasn't done. After going through dozens of male plants from those F1 seeds, I finally found one closely resembling the phenotype of Nolan's original plant. When I pollinated the F2s, I also back-crossed to clones from the original plant. These are named Nolan's Tribe F2 and BX1, respectively. I also just finished a new haze variety called Morning Haze F2 that was created between a super-yielding Amnesia Haze female and a very choice Arise male. I took pollen from this new varietal and crossed it with Nolan's Tribe to create what I'd intended to name after the officer who'd searched Nolan's hospital room. But after being asked by the officer on Friday not to, I must respect that. It will be called Last Day's Bag. That was the bag Nolan asked not to be searched. 50% of all sales of Nolan's Tribe F2, Nolan's Tribe BX1, and Last Day's Bag will be donated to Nolan's Tribe of Warriors. These will be $60 per 12 pack shipped. The Morning Haze is $60 per pack as well. All of his other varieties are discounted through June 15th. Go check out Home Grow Solutions and Josh Loftus. Nolan lives on through his own varietal that one of the best growers in the state, maybe the country, maybe the world, put together. And I fucking love me some Josh
Last Day's
Loftus.
Bag.
I love Josh Loftus, and I can't wait to get in on that Last Day's Bag.
And it's supposed to be exactly like, you ever seen the movie How High? No one pops up, dude.
He just comes up as soon as you smoke. He's like, dude.
What's up, dude?
And then he like goes and visits Josh. He's like, well, buddy, listen, everybody's smoking this. If I gotta pop up
I'm
every
busy as
time,
shit.
I got time to do nothing. Can I go enjoy heaven? Can I do that?
Jimi Hendrix and are
Yeah,
doing a concert
there's a
with
concert
Roy Orbison
right now. Jimmy and Stevie Ray Vaughan are having
Come
a
on.
guitar duel,
And Stephen Craig just keeps
and they
smoking.
just keep smoking, and they won't stop smoking. And all they ever want to talk about is dicks. It's
Dick jokes.
ridiculous. It's
I was good once
ridiculous.
or twice. Now
Go to
it's just a
Home
bit
Grow
much.
Solutions and get you some awesome genetics.
Nolan's
from
Tribe
Josh.
for Cannabis Warriors
You got it.
Facebook page as well.
Yeah, for
Follow
sure.
them.
They got a group as well. Jump in there. Awesome people.
Yeah, man, I'm so glad I got to meet all those people. That's why I said, like, I don't even really want to, the big business aspect of cannabis kind of turns me off now. I would like to have some stake in the game, maybe have a portion of a business or help a business drum up ideas or, be a part of it somehow. But I would, it's tough to bastardize something you love. It's one thing if you're doing construction and if rich person's like, hey man, I'll pay you $200,000 for a bathroom kitchen remodel, and you're like, oh shit, a little bit of gouging there. Maybe you don't feel as bad because you're like, oh whatever. But in the cannabis world, you're like, I'm gonna try to make as much money off this shit as possible. When there's so many people who, like Josh Loftus, like all these people who, when the chips are down, they're like, yeah, I'm down to my last shit. Fucking old boy, Dennison Collard, like him being like, hey, I got last little bits of CBD left. I don't have much to offer you, Craig, but I heard your friend passed. Is there any way you can raise money with these? And it's like, yeah, we'll figure something out. And then we start putting them in our gift packets. Like people like that are so willing to go out of their way to say, oh, I'm going to do something selfish and help somebody. I'm going to feel fucking great after that, and they get it. They get that that's how you sleep at night. That's how you sleep like a baby. You start doing good things for people and you're like, I'm a selfish piece of shit.
Well, it's just, I mean, it's a nice way to, it's noble work, man.
Yeah,
it's
it
noble
is.
work.
And like you mentioned a couple shows ago about being able to create something, these caregivers and growers that are putting the love and time and effort into these mids that we're growing here in Missouri. Forker? That is going to ripple out. That is going to have an effect. We've been getting cron from God knows where, when,
sure.
who has it when.
And they're just telling you it is.
This fucking white.
This is Bananarama.
Yeah,
Bananarama.
This was super
crisscross.
hard to get. This was. And it's like
Yeah.
what? Okay. Sure. What? Farquad.
Farquad.
And with these are going to be grown with love.
Yeah.
By some good ass people
No doubt.
who care. It's going to be so cool. That's why the cannabis industry, we love it. Are we going to bastardize ourselves by
Sure.
being like, Madman is the only weed you should smoke in town if that's what you want. It's the best CBD.
It's toasted. All tobacco's toasted. Yeah, but nobody's advertising it. What the? Oh my goddamn bleep doesn't work anymore. Son of
What
a bitch.
happened? What happened to
Son of
everything?
a bitch.
All right, Mike, read us some of those quotes. I love the way you read them because it's very random with and you can read them from the
so,
phone. That's a great idea.
So we got a lot coming in here, guys. So we'll
Good.
start back with Ashley Davis Markham. I will even smoke that. Okay.
That's saying something.
Just
Ashley's not a
last
smoker.
day
Do you have a lighter,
bag.
Mike?
Tiffany Jones.
I did. I got one.
She is, let's see, what did you say? Josh Loftus, love you. Jessica Evans, Josh, you are the man. Uh-oh. Josh Loftus, you guys are making my eyes wet. Love you all. Love you guys, sorry.
I love him, man.
I do
Christopher
too.
Rich Crawford, I wish I could have been with Amber today. It is a bittersweet day for her. Today is also the 2-year anniversary of Nolan's diagnosis.
Oh shit.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's
We
tons
love
more.
Amber. Surround
Yeah.
Amber with love. She's fucking great.
No doubt.
She's
Also, they said they have the video of that on the tribe page.
Missy misses you.
I miss you too, Ben.
Does he get? How?
Sorry.
You guys live together, don't they?
That's all right.
Like it's quarantine.
She hasn't seen me for a few
Jesus
days. I went-
Christ Almighty.
I went to the I went to the woods to lose my mind and find my soul, man.
I love your Greg Polar profile pic. It's so good.
You know, dude. You know,
We're just like, man,
Good
and
old
out in the
time.
background, big
Just
old
blowing
plume
a big old smoke plume.
It's great, dude. Pretty much sums that shit up.
Well, you want to segue to like one of our questions? We had
Yes.
a question last week that we were going to talk about, and we just never quite got to it. But it was something that I got to thinking about. We were talking about our teenage daughter. We've got a teenage daughter. It's going to be a sophomore. Landon's going to be a teenager next week, which is crazy. Yeah, it's nuts, dude. Having a teenager, two teenagers, and just talking about like what's some great advice, because I always felt like I was surrounded by great advice, but you're just so cocksure. You're carving your own way. I've always been just bullheaded.
Dude, my dad would
I'm
always
do
say,
shit the hardest way possible.
You're gonna have to learn yourself. You're just gonna have to learn yourself. Because
What's
he would tell me, and he
something
knew.
like I'm not one that's ever really looking for. I really don't have a lot of regrets in my life. I like to think that all the decisions that I've made up until this point. Sometimes there's days that it's regrettable, but it's like it's never really a regret. No, but I like to think that all the decisions that I've made up until this point are what have brought me here. But there's also probably some subtle changes that maybe could have been made that just make it look a little bit different. And I'm just wondering, like when you were in high school, maybe going into college, and then even from college going into young adulthood, like what are some things that you really wish somebody could have leveled with you and got through to you? Let's say like when you're starting at like 15 years old.
I think the most vital piece of information, and I don't know, maybe it's necessary to go through these, but very much the bird of paradise era, or the male elk, the bugling elk era, or that 15 through 19 was I got to look good. What are but Banana Republic is where I need to shop for bitches to want to let wiener in them. Is that what I'm Banana Republic? All right. Like I was figuring it out by what other people thought of me. That's what the whole thing was. I shifted my style to kind of be like, well, what's fuckable? You know what I mean? Or what's cool?
Keep up with the fads.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I cared about what people thought about me. I was never the guy who was like, they don't like me, because everyone liked me. But, you know, I was never like, I didn't really care what people thought. I just wanted to make sure I was on that cutting edge and really cool in the most douchey ways. Like now I think the biggest, you know, I think Duncan Trussell is the coolest person on earth, but 15-year-old Steve would be like, fuck that guy.
Right.
He's he's got a weird voice and he fucking looks weird and he has weird
What is he
cartoons.
talking about?
Yeah, that's fucking weird, man.
Yeah.
So the biggest advice I've learned is I don't give a shit. If I'm good in here, then I'm good out here. If I'm good in here, I'm good out there, man. And my dad kind of instilled that.
I think that's something that our parents say to us. I think it's something that a lot of people say to us, talk about us, about our uniqueness. But it is really one of those things that I think is hard to grasp until you start hanging out with other unique people. Sure. If you're hanging out with people that are still playing the game, it's one of those things where it's like, well, actually their standard for cool is still tied up in this. And it's not really, that's, I guess, how I think I maybe could have been compelled a little bit more to be like, to live my true authentic self would just be, you know, to have heard it from people that were just kind of really cool doing their own totally unique, weird things. And I've always, you know, I've always had friends in like I always consider myself kind of a clique jumper.
Sure.
But no, there's no doubt that there was definitely still you know, kind of a level of social jockeying taking place through the dumbest things that I couldn't quite figure out until I was kind of a young adult or even in college, you know, on my own, where there's just such an expanse of things to participate in and get passionate about that you didn't even know was out there, you know, and you didn't know that there were kids that were fucking beatniks and shit. Like, you're like,
totally.
Oh, that's still like there were all
that's
these
some good
little,
advice. Try everything.
Try a little bit.
Because mine was
everything.
try anal.
Well,
And
that's,
I did that.
That's included
I did
in everything.
that, but I should be try everything.
Yeah, there was an article about pegging in the group today.
No doubt.
Come on, duh.
No doubt. What, today or in the last 15 minutes?
Probably. It's been
one.
reposted since. Somebody else has been on Vice since then. It's always my favorite thing to see guys that are like, no way, dude.
Oh, yeah. And you're like,
no, I'm not going to do that. No. And I'm
no
like,
it's gonna make me come
I'm like,
gay.
oh, you would like it the most out of everybody here.
And that's
And you're
great.
You're just keeping it from yourself.
Exactly.
You're just punishing yourself.
I believe me, I get it.
I think that's
I get it. Me and Jen and I get it.
Interestingly enough, like I was thinking about it the other day because I'm finding myself in situations where I'm getting to have these conversations with my kids where they're starting to talk about college and what they want to do after school, and you know, and honestly, and I've always been like I've been in a lot of relationships, you know, and so like, and it was, I don't know why I placed so much value on that in high school, being in a relationship. And I wish, and the gal that was my high school sweetheart, I cared very deeply for. The first girl I ever loved, for sure. We were together for a long time. And I would never say it was wasted time. But, man, if I would have just never really barked up that tree.
So it's not a regret?
It's not a regret. No, it's not a regret because I think that one little small piece of advice probably would have drastically altered my course. And I don't even know what it looks like then. But I think I would have been more focused on training and more focused on studying. And I think I would have been just more focused on...
Get your head out of the poon collar.
Yeah, for sure, dude. I mean, for sure. No doubt about it. I told you about like prom was the day before. Huh? Prom was before the day before the state...
You stupid bastard.
the state like semifinals track mate, and I'm like, oh, that fucking sucks, you know, like, and like the boss
Missy goes, she's beautiful and lovely, and I hate her.
Fair enough. She was a sweet gal, man, and I also on top of that, like, I learned all the things not to be in those relationships.
Oh, sure.
Like, now, not to say I didn't repeat them through my 20s, but like I definitely like learned them in that relationship on somebody that didn't deserve that. But my point is that if I could make one small change, that probably would have had a drastic outcome difference. It would have been like, I'm just telling my kids, like, do not worry about being in relationships. Do not
Good.
love fully, but love everything. Love in a way that Ram Dass loves. Love everything. You know, put everything up there and be love. But like, don't try and fall in love when you're a teenager. Just and that's not to say that there aren't people that have done it quite successfully, you know. But it's just, I just think about that, and I, as a parent now, like, selfishly as a parent, like what I would like to see from my kids, I want my kids to just live long, happy, healthy lives. But like, I really, you know, cannot express to them enough how important it is to, you know, practice safe sex and to not get pregnant too early, and to, those things are like something that everybody's saying. Every kid's like, yeah, it'll never happen to me, except it happens to
Everyone who has a kid.
everybody who has a kid. Like now
No
it
one's
is,
ever played
it is definitely like in the minority when like I see my friends, we're now 35, 36, and you know, and they're like, well, or just a couple years ago, they're like, well, we just bought our house together and we got our first little baby on the way, and I'm like, holy shit, you followed the playbook? You followed the playbook? And they're like, you know, they got a retirement going, they got money in the bank. Don't spend your whole life playing catch up. I don't regret having my kids young. I love the idea of my kids being grown and me being 40.
Right.
But it is a trade, right? Like, it's a pretty good trade. You gonna trade your 20s when you're figuring shit out and trying to be a parent?
Yeah.
Or are you gonna trade, you know, your 40s,
you get a little better.
your later days when you've kind of settled down and you've got a better idea of what the world is?
People
you know?
are get weird when they're in their mid 40s and their kids are gone. They're like, "Ooh,
What do you do?"
You fuck
all day long.
That's with the pineapples and the fucking. Like,
Oh, for sure. Yep.
Okay. Do you think that our culture, the pop culture amongst youth, has changed enough that if we look at our era, where it was, you know, grinding was the dancing style, and rom-coms where you fell in love, you fell hard, love, 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 every song. I mean, I was trying to think, I'm like, God, like, what is it? 90% of songs are like, I miss this girl, or I love this girl, or I want this girl back, or this girl or guy's got me so crazy, you know, like, that's like, God damn, you could sing a song about anything, and 90% of songs like, girl, don't you do that to me, and it's like, what is going on? So that, our era kind of, I feel like it had that, looking back on it. But today's kids are kind of living in a world of the Billie Eilish, I wear gender neutral clothes, and I wear brown bags, and Justin Bieber has brown sacks at his clothing line, and they just have a unhappy, X'd out smiley face on them. And we accept all the genders, and you guys can't believe you guys didn't even pick up that there's more genders, and everything's fluid, and it's okay, and we don't care.
Yeah.
And there's LGBTQ everywhere. They've been brought up in that world to
Yeah,
where when we were
sure.
doing it, we were
Yeah.
like, chicks kissing, oh,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Everywhere. Like when we were 17, 18, that shit wasn't happening. Three-way kisses on the
Wild
MTV
Things.
spring
Wild
break.
Things.
Yes, dude,
Yeah,
that
sure.
was the penultimate of our childhood. You
Well-
know? Now they've been growing up in that shit, and I was worried. I was like, it's gonna make them hypersexual. I swear to God, I was like, 20, like my niece, like when she's older, it's gonna make all them kids hyper damn sexual.
Well,
And it didn't. I think from the 17 to 18-year-old kids that I hang out with, from like, actually, it's my friends' kids. I'll say, hey, what's up? What's going on right now?
What's the low,
Hey,
Daddy?
kids.
What's the
Want a
low?
cig? Tell me what's up. They're like, what?
What? Get away from me, old man.
Cigarettes are
Cigarettes
gross.
cause
Yeah,
cancer.
I know. And so I'll ask them or whatever, and it's very much, no, we don't want to show our bodies much because it'll end up online. And I don't want to do anything sexual at a party because it's going to end up online.
Yeah.
I don't want to even kiss this guy or girl because they think I'm a whore. And that's going to end up online. And there's a whole, I sensed more worry about that than reward for, because remember there was always like 2 or 3 kids in your class, even 8th grade or like freshman year. They're like, oh yeah, sex was getting old, so I tried anal, or I titty jammed this chick, and you're like, Jesus Christ, I just touched a boob like yesterday, dude. And they were like hypersexual. You're like, oh my God.
I was talking about it the other day, like this exact conversation, because
that's for later.
I know we've talked about it before, but it's hard for me to think what it would be like to be me with the internet we have now at my son's age. And I don't know if Mrs. watching us in the car driving home with my kids, so I'm just saying, like, with what the internet is now, what we had with 56K, like dial-up internet, I was still looking for just the craziest shit, because why not? The internet made it available, and it made it available very slowly, but I wanted to see it. Now, there isn't a kink, there isn't a fucking wild corkscrew turn that you can't take on the internet. And I wonder, like, my God, like, would that desensitize me, taking that in at such an early age? Like, honestly, I don't know. I think that I think people are kind of born with kinks. That's actually probably a good little. I'm sure you can learn kinks too. Like,
no, my kinks, a lot of them are learned because a lot of them are based in like Catholic guilt. Like, I'm very much like,
yeah, I get
don't
that.
you do
Yeah,
that?
that's
and I'm
fair.
like, okay, I
That's
gotta
fair.
do that now.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I think a lot of that, my kinks, like,
like
when
a good like nun BDSM in a dungeon.
Yes, like now the corn cob I have to stick up my ass. I don't know what's up with that. That's what I'm born
that was
with
what
it.
you were born with.
Maybe it's Maybelline.
That's nature. And then the video you're watching, or the fact that Jen's dressed up like a nun doing it to you is nurture.
That figured it out for you people.
There you go,
Is there
guys. It's a
anything else
nature
you
nurture.
guys need?
There's a question.
Okay, what's the question? Let's go to the lines.
So Josh is asking, what kind of sex drive constitutes hypersexuality?
Ooh, that's a good one.
I
I think that it's probably a floating metric, but I consider myself a hypersexual being, and that is
Great
like
question.
I feel as though, like, in a perfect world, I would kill my partner if we did this, but like the amount of sex that I crave. And we have a pretty healthy sex
I would
life.
kill my partner
if she, yeah, I would.
The amount of sex I crave is the next sentence.
I'm hypersexual.
I'll kill that bitch.
I would say. I'm just saying. I'm just saying that her body has limits that, like, my body could push through. That's all I'm saying.
This is why you will die challenging the fuckbot 8,000.
Yeah, I am the John Henry of cocks.
No, dude. But hypersexual means this. Like when you hump like that, when you're like jackrabbiting it.
Yeah, the hair hump,
Chicks love
the humpy
that.
hair.
The hair humper. That's good.
Any
Any more questions? Any more questions on the line?
Well, Missy replied to Josh's comment. Craig is the poster boy, so I'm not lying here.
Oh yeah, no. I mean,
I think that hypersexuality is
Bill
one
Clinton.
that. Well, I'm just let's take it political, baby. I think it's just one of those things. I like to
He's
think
not
that
lying.
you will drop everything at the drop of a hat to go have sex, because it's constantly at the forefront of your mind.
I think it's a floating thing in the way that when I was going through my change, I was really like a gust of wind. I'd be like, oh, Jesus
Yeah, I can
Christ.
look
or you see
linoleum
like a
and wanna jerk off.
like a
Yeah, for
curve
sure.
of something and be like, mother F. Now it's very much, am I feeling good? Am I feeling real good about myself? That makes me more prone to be like, ooh, now I'm a dominant species who's out to take what I want, and this is fucking, yeah. I'll still have sex when I'm not feeling great about myself, but then it's like, and you're weeping the whole time, and it's just, it's fucking.
How intimate you want to get tonight?
I'll do it all.
I got a question. Where are we at on a break? Because I got a question.
We're about 50 minutes.
Okay, maybe. All right, we'll do this, and then we'll go to commercial break, and then we'll talk about weed and psychedelics on the
My
other side.
job, Steve. I'm supposed to tell you how much time you have left.
No, we
Let's
nailed
get.
it
We're gonna
together.
get
awesome.
super intimate here.
Okay. Okay.
Only because mine is a terribly awful story. What was like growing up Catholic for me? I'm gonna just give us a little preface. Like the thought of masturbation was like it was off the
Sin.
table, brother. It was off the table,
Sin.
and as fucking. I mean, dude, as much as I was always thinking about sex, I was not going to succumb to that.
Succumb.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
I was not going to succumb to that. So,
Sinner boy.
do you remember the first time that you masturbated?
Kind of. Oh my god. Just turn it off.
Shut it down.
I remember being like 7 or 8.
Really?
And one day being in my room and I had a little fucking He-Man underwear on or whatever, and I just had my little wiener in my fingers like this, and I was just like kind of going back and forth on my underwear.
Okay.
Until I was finally like, "Goo!" But nothing happened, you know what I mean? And I was like, what was that?
So, like, did you come? Like, not come,
No,
but did you like?
nothing
Did
came
it?
out.
Okay,
but I did was like I got a
you had, like, an
sensation
orgasm,
at the end.
like-
yeah,
Okay.
nothing like now.
Yeah, sure.
Which I remember.
But you remember
But I
getting
remember being
hard
like, "Whoa, that's weird." And I'm notorious. My mom's always telling the story to my first dates whenever she meets them. Is I was like 8 or 9, and we'd watch Moonlighting
With
was it?
Cher?
Sybil Shepherd.
Oh, so yeah. Okay.
And Die Hard, and the guy from Die Hard, Bruce Willis.
Okay.
And apparently they would always get sexual on there, and I was like, "Hey, Mom, how come whenever I'm watching Sybil Shepherd, my pee gets hard?" And she's like, "George, you gotta feel this one, you know what I mean?" And my dad's like, "Son." My dad's always, "It's a curse." It's a curse. Like any sexual thing, I'd be like, "Chicks want to do this," or they'd be like, "It's a curse, man. Can't help you out." Figure it out.
Thanks,
I'm
Dad.
like, I know.
Thanks,
I'm
George.
like, okay, you're a fucking
You're
curse.
a grown man. I'm asking.
It's a curse.
I'm asking for some help here, Georgie.
And he walked away going, "I've never made love to a woman." I know. But yeah, so I kind of remember that. But then jerking off, I was convinced from 13 to, because I didn't start getting little pubies till later. I was a late bloomer, like
Okay.
17, 18 when I was like full
For
sprout.
real?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
like
wow.
Freshman year, I was 4'10".
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So like sophomore year, I was like, there we go. And I was like, tomorrow I'll be a man.
Yeah.
And then I went through a year of, hey guys, what's going
Kind of somewhere in the
on?
middle.
Hey, man, I'm stuck here for life.
Yeah.
And then I was convinced up until about 16, maybe like 12 through 15 when I stopped giving a shit really. If something bad would happen, like I would lose something or lose a game or we'd get a flat tire, I'd be like, God's punishing me because I fucking jerked off yesterday. Like I equated every bad thing. I was like,
That Christian guilt.
that whenever I
Catholic
jerked
guilt's the
off,
worst.
it equated to a bad thing happening within about 24 hours. It was like watching the Ring video. You know what I mean? If I jerked off, I had about
You were
24
done.
hours.
Something's gonna take a shit. So you were like keeping a countdown. Like,
Yes, I was.
man,
I
that's
would jerk
hard.
off
You
for
got
2
to
days, I'd
you
be
got to
like,
know. You got to. You
what's
got to
happening?
ask yourself if it's worth it every time.
Every time.
You're like, all right,
and I'd be like,
something
fucking
bad's gonna
right it
happen,
is. I'd go, fucking right it is. And I'd be like, yes. And then as soon as I blew my load, I'd be like, you filthy sinner.
Just the dude. Big Mouth got that so right. Like it's just you're just
sitting it
the
big.
worst. The worst they so. Oh man.
Yeah,
so
so-
okay, so I had.
I'm all over that shit now.
Of
Like,
all the porno I'd seen before, of all the magazines I'd seen, like they definitely, like I was, dude, I was an early bloomer. Like by third grade,
you and Wayne,
by
yeah.
third grade, I was pretty well beginning puberty. I had hair in
That's
my armpits
insane.
and legs in fourth grade. Like, yeah, I was pubed out by sixth. Or fifth grade.
Pubed out
Fifth
by
grade. Fifth grade was the
sixth.
worst. Like, we had a fucking smokestack of a teacher. She was so fucking hot, dude. Miss Manning, what's up, girl? Dude, then actually
I'm full pube now.
our full, yeah, what's up, Pubesky? No, but
We have
our
fun.
fourth grade teacher was also really good looking. So much so that like a lot of the boys were crushing on her, and I remember they even called her at her house one day, like, "Hey, shoot or shoot." Anyway,
Miss Vaughn,
just want to let you know how much I like you.
you blew it.
But even with all that I was experiencing, and man, I was so.
I'll kill her.
Yeah, kill that broad, babe. I don't care. She fucked up. She couldn't even teach me math,
I'll
man.
kill her.
So anyway, that's
Don't
hilarious.
put that online.
Don't
This
Missy,
lady's gonna end
delete
up in a car.
Yeah,
accident.
they're knocking on our fucking door. So I did not masturbate, dude, for a long time.
That's insane.
And I was probably like 12, 13. And
So you were straight like, I ain't doing it because
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to
straight
hell.
up, I was like, I was still even contemplating being a
What an
priest
idiot.
and everything. Like, this was my curse, right? Like, I'm going to fucking talk about Jesus, but really in the back of my mind, I'm thinking about banging it out all the time. Like a
Give
lot of them do
myself
it.
to the Lord.
Yeah, so and that's why I was like when they were talking about that, like different sacred vows that you can take, like it's marriage or it's staying single and celibate to God, and or joining the priesthood or the nunnery or whatever. It's like
I'll join that nunnery.
yeah, like is that an option? Because when I was watching it, like at the
bunch of
time
horny
that they were
broads in
at the time that they were telling us about this, now it might have landed really well with a lot of the other 4th and 5th grade kids, but with me, I'm like, are you out of your fucking mind? You're just giving that up. You've never even tried it. Like that was a big hang up for me. So I remember, dude, the first time that I fucking jacked it, and and of all the porno and all of the
Oh, Mike's jerking
stuff,
off right
yeah,
now.
it's kind of weird, Mike. While I'm
It's weird,
talking
Mike.
about it.
Come
It's all
on.
right.
That's why I can't turn the camera on.
I remember like it was like this. I
Well,
was
the first
watching
time you
this
did it
deal-
was
I
in church,
I was
wasn't it?
watching this deal. I have jacked off in church. I got a whole fucking story on that. So that's what I'm saying. Hypersexual. Dude, I can tell you some shit.
So once you fucking blew,
yeah.
got past
Oh, that
first
was the
one.
deal. Once I got past the hill of guilt, I was like, oh, that only lasts 15 minutes tops, 15 seconds.
You were
I'm jacking
skiing
again.
down
Yeah, I was water skiing.
down a hill,
No, behind the.
boat of shame.
Never mind.
Okay.
So
Never mind. I'll explain it to
So
you.
here I
after the
am.
show,
So
Steve.
here I am. I'm getting after it, and it feels good, right? Like it feels good, and like I think I'm working towards something, and as it's like starting to happen, I'm like, oh God, no! And I just stopped.
Why? Why? Because you're the sin, the guilt.
I just thought that's like I felt a tingle. I'm
You
like,
jumped.
oh. I'll tell you what I did. I'm the first person on record to give myself the worst case of blue balls ever. Dude, and I'm telling you, you might as well have, do you remember the scene in Casino when they smashed Joe Pesci's head in the letterpress? Yes. You might as well have done that with my balls. And so this is my first experience with masturbation. And I'm like,
that's worse.
and I'm like, oh God, people! No wonder priests and nuns do it. This is awful. What's everybody talking about? Like, I was convinced
did it
that it was
wrong.
worse, and I went and laid
Didn't your
in bed.
Uncle Larry finally show you how to actually do it?
Yeah,
though?
he did. He's like, no, you got to finish in my mouth. It was weird. It was weird.
You're right. You're right. That is better.
So I just remember lying in bed contemplating what had just happened, and I was just like, that could not have been right. Like the numbers are not on this experience. It's like this is an anomaly. I didn't even know what anomaly meant, but I knew that this is not how it was supposed to work.
This is one
yeah,
of
this
them.
is one of them. It's too many people spoke so highly of it. Why would people do this on purpose? I could have just went out to the garage, grabbed a hammer, and slapped my nuts with a hammer,
It's like-
and it would have been the same thing.
It's like people who see Shawshank the first time and just don't get it. It's like I got to revisit that.
So.
Everyone loves Shawshank, so I gotta revisit that thing eventually.
So I
crank another one out
revisited it
that night?
the next day. The
Okay.
next night, I was making some
Lit
time
some
for myself.
candles.
Yeah, making some time for myself. And I did it, and it was fucking scary movie when he paints her to the
Amazing.
ceiling,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh well, that's inconvenient. There's a lot of cleanup here, lots of cleanup. But
And
it
I
was
heard
the
you
greatest
come
thing.
loads.
Oh, Peter North. Just shooting ropes, bro. Anyway,
That's why I like you.
I think that we dialed up this first hour about as raunchy as we ever had. But I wanted to have that conversation because
felt normal.
I think I always look back.
We're
on
getting a
that
lot
and
of it.
yeah, I know. A lot of people are like, "Oh my god, that's awful." But let's be honest. Well, yeah, that's
Oh,
fair.
whatever. What?
I don't even have an Uncle
yours?
Larry.
You know what
His
group
was
you were
bad
in.
words.
I don't
know
even
what
have
group
an
you
Uncle
were
Larry,
in.
so the
Get
joke's
away
on you.
with the
Maybe I'm
stupid
100%
emojis. Fucking, you think we care about? Shut this thing down.
I'll shut it down right now. You
I'll
want an
take it
hour?
away
You
from
want
guys
1
right
hour?
now,
Give it to you.
bastards.
Hey, how about this? Let's, Mike, go ahead and kick those mics off here in a second. Let's,
See,
it
Bukkake
appears
party.
that it was
Somebody gets
pulled
it.
off of here. So, hey, Mikey, kill those mics and let's take these folks to commercial. On the other side, we're going to talk about psychedelics, weed, and maybe we'll get into another couple deep combos. What do you think?
Yeah.
James Carlton. Insurance 314-961-4800. Handsome. Amazing. Astonishing. Astounding. Fabulous. Incredible. Fantastical. Phenomenal. Prodigious. Stupendous. Unbelievable. Wondrous. Divine. Fantastical. No, seriously, he's fantastical. You got a house. Go on and get it insured. You got a car. You gotta get it insured. You got a life. Go on and get it insured. CarltonInsurance.net. Fantastical. Stupendous. Fantastic.
Do you take our insurance and are you cannabis friendly? And they all said no. And then at that last phone call, that 8th phone call, I was like, do you know anybody that is? I'm desperate. I've called 7 other people. You're my 8th phone call. At this point, I'm crying my eyes out. And this lady just felt bad for me and said, hold on, let me call you back in a few minutes. And they called me back and they said that they would take him, but under a certain amount of conditions. And the main condition was that if they felt that cannabis was not working for him, then they would take him from us and put him in and Child Protective Services, and then they would take the other 2 kids too. Oh, because they were both underage.
Then-
and we would be charged with child endangerment.
So they'd go to federal prison.
Yeah, we would go to federal prison. So we said, bring it on.
Come to Privilege, I got good price.
This is one of the best Cubans. I try a Cuban everywhere I go. And this is one of the best damn Cubans I've ever had. And we've got a little white cheddar mac here with a little cracker mac. Life-changing, incendiary.
Everywhere I go, I try the Cuban. This time I didn't. I got the grilled cheese bacon burger.
Look at that thing.
With put some pepper jack on there, some jalapenos, and we got some crinkle fries. And all I can say is, oh baby, grow baby.
As you can see, this was once a delicious plate of coconut scrimps, and I devoured it. And if I had to say, if I had to give a review real quick, I'd say it's an orgasmic feast of the senses.
And I love meat. Hey, boys and girls, I'm talking about native hemp extract. That CBD.
That CBD.
Get inside of me.
Inside of me.
That CBD.
That CBD.
Sweet delicious CBD. That CBD.
That CBD.
Got the CBD native hemp. That CBD.
That CBD.
You can get it from me.
I can.
That CBD.
That CBD.
Inside of me.
Inside of me.
That CBD.
That CBD.
Get inside of me.
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 Inside of me. Inside of me. Native hemp extract. 1,800 milligrams of total cannabinoid goodness from Pike County, Illinois. Get yours at HoosierSophisticate.com.
And mics.
And we're
mics,
back.
I got a new toy. Did you see this thing?
Oh, I did see that thing.
Guys, if you haven't got some of that good cannabinoid goodness, go to our website. Oh, look at that.
If you click on the native hemp extract tab at HoosierSophisticate.com, you're going to get, and you enter the code HOSO. It's going to take you over to Native Hemp's deal. You add it to your cart, enter HOSO at checkout. You're going to get another $35 off of the bottle. Enter HOSO at checkout. Guys, for 1,800 milligrams, you'd be hard-pressed to find any CBD product at that price. It is as good of a CBD as I've ever taken. And it's total cannabinoids. It's got a little CBG in there, a little CBN in there. It's got it all.
Hold that, please, sir.
That one's 1-1.
Check out this guy.
Brian Clark.
Will she focus?
Will she focus?
I don't know. You can't tell. It's
That one was 1.
Look at that. It looks like it's. Oh, K9's for camo. You can win this thing. Take a look. It's a little blurry. We got good pictures on our
No doubt.
website.
No doubt.
K9's for camo. Donate $5. You get a chance to win this. Follow us on YouTube and Twitch.
Every $5 you donate, you got a chance to win that pipe. It's the way to go. And then we're going to show you guys this one here. We're going to do this one. We're going to auction it off for Nolan's Tribe. Right there. This is a cool piece. Both custom pieces by Brian Clark. I think he's out of, Massachusetts?
Sure.
I believe he's from up east.
That one's raised $300.
Yeah, we're up to $300 on it. That's going to go to K9 for camo, which is awesome.
Also great devices for smoking CBD, by the way.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, that's what
For sure.
Steve's actually
I got a
grinding up some
bunch of-
CBD right now.
Delicious.
So tell me about this little contraption you got, bud.
So what this is hold up.
Yep.
Someone asking how much
For the
that
CBD.
pipe made.
Oh, $300. So this is it. It's got a little hole, little contraption here, a little hole with your weed. This thing slides back and forth. So this opens it up. This spout comes out. You put your cone at the end of this. It vibrates, and the weed vibrates out. See it vibrating out? I love it so much.
It's pretty awesome.
It's so not necessary. It's the best. I can't get
It's
enough
convenient.
of
I mean,
this
we're always
thing.
chasing a little bit of
I
convenience,
know,
man.
I
Anytime
know,
you
I
can,
love it so much.
anytime you can save a little bit of
There,
time,
you can-
doing the mundane things. That's
love it.
value, man. Time is money.
Time is money. Craig's right, man. And I'm all about that cheddar dough. Hose slapping hat activated, says Christopher Rachel Crawford. That is so badass. It's huge. I know you got to put the filter in it as you're doing it with the CBD. I had some good chats with our buddy Tyler Morgan from
Skytrace Farms.
Farms. One of my favorite people on earth. He's got big doings going on. He's got some stuff I think called like Superwoman coming out, which he wants to try to figure out a way to maybe get it. Because the COVID has affected everybody.
Sure.
Like even the hemp farms. And so if we can support local hemp farms like Denison, and
native hemp, man, yeah, no doubt.
Sweet Leaf, I think, is carrying the oil now.
Yeah, yep,
So,
yep.
get out to
and
Sweet
Sweet Leaf
Leaf.
got together.
Get out
no
to
doubt.
Sweet
Go
Leaf.
to Sweet
Go to
Leaf,
Sweet
man.
Leaf.
They
What's
are
wrong
they're
with you
sweethearts
guys?
at Sweet Leaf.
They are.
And if you need a card, you can get a card at Sweet Leaf. We're gonna have a giveaway here pretty soon. That wouldn't be a bad thing to announce here on Memorial Day. If you can think of a vet that's needing a card.
Yeah, we'll give one away by the end of the show.
If you guys nominate a vet, yeah, I'll take it. I'll take some CBD.
CBD.
If you guys nominate a vet, we'll give a med card away to a vet
do it
in
right now.
need. If
do it
you
right
guys
now.
can think of somebody that really needs it, we're going to take care of them. So happy Memorial Day to all of you out there. A time of remembrance. And that leads us into, you asked a kind of a pertinent question. Hey, Mike, will you real quick flip over to that little graphic that Steve said was for later?
Let's see here.
There you
There it
go.
is.
Yep, go back. There you go. With Memorial Day, we talk about, we honor the fallen, people that fought for an idea. You talked about one of the most powerful things that you ever saw was Chris Wolfenbarger out in Colorado talking about guys that stood up and said, "We are defending the wall. Yeah. We are the ones that will defend the wall." And it's some gave all gave some gave all, and so it's it's a heavy topic. And then when you asked a question today saying, "Are we being purposefully divided?" I think that is a big part of the conversation. Because there is a media machine that we are all victim to. And I'm not just talking about mainstream media. I'm also talking about counterpoint media that pops up as a rebuttal, to the main conversation that's going on. We are all constantly, and I think it is a healthy thing for us to be engaged in discourse as we are presented with problems.
No doubt.
But are we being purposefully divided? I think 100% we are.
Then the next question is, by whom and for what purpose?
See, now I think that is like a much broader scope, right? Like,
Sure.
I don't know that there's any one entity, that's making it happen. But there are certainly power factions that drive their own propaganda, to further their talking points, to further their ideologies.
What do you think is the most divisive topic right now?
Oh, I think COVID is definitely the most divisive topic right now. And what's really interesting about it is
there's
nobody
so many
really
ways to
knows-
be divided on
yeah,
it too.
nobody really knows what the fuck they're talking about because it's something that now there are certainly people who are better equipped to talk about the technicality medical aspects of it for sure. But what we're facing is, in a way, very unprecedented. And so what's happened is, and this is something that I would love to see change. We've talked about it before. This doesn't just apply to COVID or anything else, but any kind of national discussion or atrocity that takes place, there is a rush to be the first person to the news to
Yep. Who hit Twitter first?
To offer the story or to offer a solution to the problem, and now we are in red and blue camps, and we are in
I would have said that was the most divisive thing before COVID was the teams
yeah, we're in
we have
an
built in
election year.
politics.
We're in an election year.
Even before that, I think during maybe Obama's tenure and just it's been swaying that direction for what seems like maybe 20, 30 years to unabashedly back your team no matter if you believe in it or not.
Yeah, that's right. And even so much, not so much the team anymore. Like what COVID has highlighted for me is that some of them kind of seem to follow some political lines a little bit, but I think there's more crossover there, which is also kind of interesting, bringing people together that wouldn't normally agree on maybe some political things, like the way this has affected many of us. Not everybody is experiencing the same thing. Some people are experiencing pay raises, during this. Some people are experiencing a total loss of income and fear for their families' lives. I mean, I've been trying to post, and take this with a grain of salt. I've been trying to post like reputable news outlets that are telling kind of both sides of the story. So like when they come out with one that's like, well, these doctors are saying this, that's maybe counter. Just like we talked about last week, I love the idea of playing devil's advocate because I just want to make sure that we're thinking everything through. I don't think that anybody should feel bad for being afraid of this because, it's a very real thing. It's killing hundreds of thousands of people. In the grand scheme of things, percentages-wise, all of those are much lower, much smaller than we were prepared for, which is a good thing.
We're getting really good at manipulating real-time data.
That's the deal.
Well.
So the biggest issue is I think the most frustrating thing is that a lot of us are arguing passionately or having, at least a multifaceted conversations with bunk data. Yeah. So that already kind of turns it into a shit-slinging hypothetical argument. And that's really frustrating. But that's not new. That's not new. That's something that we're doing constantly. When you look at the data, we live in the safest time that has ever existed in the history of humanity. But it doesn't feel that way because of the stories that we're told and the fear that is sold. And fear sells, again,
fear's easy.
Yeah, and again, it's really like I don't begrudge anyone who is scared for their lives for this or scared for others' lives for this. I do have a problem with. Do you ever have a thought and vocalize that thought, and then like within a week or two, like that very thought is put on a meme, and you're like, oh well, that fucking kind of. I feel like I had a point, but now you've reduced it to a fucking meme of Forrest Gump or something. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I had a conversation the other day where it's like. There is a level of virtue signaling going on, and I understand how unpopular this me talking about this is. Like I'm not chastising it, but I feel like when the conversation goes like this, like I can say, "Hey, I'm wearing a mask in public because I care about other people." That's fine. But it also kind of implies that somebody who doesn't care about other people. And that's not so. That's not so. Now, people think that there are different ways to go about it. And I've heard so many compelling reasons. I really don't want to get into this, but I've heard so many compelling reasons as to why it's this and so many compelling reasons as to why it's that. And so I've really kind of tried to stay measured. But if a conversation is kind of rolling too far one way, I like to come in and be like, okay, but
no doubt.
What about this?
Oh God, that's just in my. If I see a
sure,
conversation
well, let's
going,
expand the conversation because
that.
let's make sure that we're challenging why we feel the way that we feel.
And I'm a jackass. Whether it's a certain person, I'm like, oh, I will challenge this. You know what I mean? I'm a fucking piece of shit. The next question, I guess, that comes from what I was thinking: are we being divided? I always think about that. I'm always. How are we being divided? And to me, for a long time, it was people are a lot easier to control if you divide them up. It's if I had animals that I was smarter than and they were unruly altogether, I would say put 4 over here, 4 over here, 4 over here. And we're very. I know people have done studies, polls where they figure out how many people are on board with a certain idea. It's happening all the time. So if you kind of manipulate political parties to say, we need to grab a little bit more of this vote, the data says that 75% of people believe in this. Shift our belief a little bit to grab these people. Okay. They're doing what they do. That is, I watched this thing about the bird of paradise where he takes 7 years. Talk about them again. He takes 7 years to build this nest. Another male bird of paradise comes over and just starts ripping it to shreds. And me and Jen are going, no, we're dying for this bird because that's all he's been doing. He gets back. He just starts rebuilding it.
Something happened in the nest.
What's he been doing for 7 years? Was he going to get mad that this dude? He's going to sit there and go, I'm pissed at that. It's not going to help me at all to feel this way, but I'm going to feel this way. I'm going to do it. No, this bird immediately went back emotionless. Just starts going, picking up stuff, putting stuff right back where that motherfucker took it out, which I was like, that's astounding. He's putting it right back where that guy took that shit out from. Are we dividing ourselves? Bigger question. That's what I want people to focus on. If we do, are we dividing ourselves? Because every time I go to the psychedelic space, I could have a bad trip where I'm like, oh, I don't really feel good. And I purged out and I kind of just want to sit alone, and people are like, oh, hey, what's up? You want to laugh, watch it? And you're like, yeah, I don't, you're kind of killing this vibe I got going right now. That's why attention and space is so important. But the psychedelic oneness of what we're talking about, it always comes back to that we're all one. And if we're dividing ourselves, if we can come to that thought that we're one, we can't divide ourselves. Yeah. I love you. I disagree with you.
Yeah.
I disagree with you. I love you.
Yeah,
sure.
As that's long really as you're not like, man.
I believe in murdering people who say a certain thing or look a certain way. It's like, okay, I gotta protect some life force here. Yep. You forced me in protecting life.
Yep.
Everything else, I could give a fuck what you believe in, dude.
Yeah, COVID's like, it's giving people a lot of time, a lot of time to sit alone and like, is on my side. Yes, it is. It's giving them all kinds of time to just maybe interact more online with people that they wouldn't normally do working, 9-to-5 jobs. Sure. And you kind of tying back into
Jen said I wanted to kick that bird's ass so bad. We were both stewing.
Punch that.
She's got your type of fury too. She's
I love
like,
it.
What?
I'll fucking fight that bird.
I know.
My gal, man, that's awesome.
I know.
Like it also. Where was I at?
When you need to. Birds of Paradise?
Yeah, that's where I was at.
Is that what you were talking about? Because that's the best. We were talking about how when we are one through the psychedelic landscape, so then the division, are we dividing ourselves? Yes, we are. We're actively choosing to participate in these games of division where we're like, I believe one. I see so many times, you're a piece of shit. This guy's a piece of shit. He don't wear a mask.
I remember. So yeah, like we've lost this art of being able to disagree cordially. I've been having some really fun conversations with Hank the Tank. Like
I love when you
just
two get
just
together.
for some thought exercises.
Yeah.
Like I love that dude. I will roll with that dude anywhere.
I know.
And because of that, I'm comfortable being like, okay, well, I just want to challenge that. Make sure that you're thinking it all the way through. And I also respect your opinion enough to stay engaged in this conversation.
Learn more from those people in the long run.
I want to stay engaged in the conversation because, A, I value you enough to hear what you're saying. And it doesn't make me angry. Anger doesn't serve me in this at all. So
that bird didn't need to get angry.
Yeah, not to call. Like I'm not even calling Hank out, but that's like a perfect example of like I will
fuck you,
Hank Tank. No, but like I will
clip that off.
Anytime that we can get together with ones that we love and remember how much we love them and then still challenge our ideas, like that's being an adult. That's growing. That's becoming smarter. And it's at least like, it's one of those things where you could get all of the courses at Yale or Harvard online for a while. And they're like, that's not the value in going to Harvard. The value is participating in the conversation. It's the networking. It's the other bright minds that you're learning alongside, because you'll have ideas. And if it's a good idea, you'll be able to defend it sufficiently. And if it's a bad idea and you're intelligent, you'll be able to change your mind. And that's something that like I'm hoping that we see. I'm very hopeful for what we're seeing with COVID data, and I'm very but what I'm losing hope on is whether or not what was originally sold in the beginning has become a narrative for one of these divided sides, and letting go of that narrative for better news is what I mean is not going to be possible. especially in an election year. Like, this has certainly been politicized by both sides.
sure.
No one's above. It's ridiculous.
Oh,
you know, but like
man.
at the end of the day, like, this isn't
Hideous.
a politics question. This is a
But
philosophical
everything is
question.
now.
This is an existential question that
None of
we're
our
all
politicians are speaking in those terms, though. They're all like, "Oh,
No, that's what I'm
you're the
saying.
Fucking worst."
So-
I would love it if a politician was like, "Let's think about this big picture in a deep sense of." Reminds me of my ayahuasca trip. Like, yes, this is the politician I fucking need up there.
Well,
man.
I guess that's kind of what a while ago I decided that I wanted to participate in philosophical discussions, not political discussions.
Yeah.
Because it's really not honest to have a political discussion. I mean, on either side, like it's a losing battle. I'm happy to engage in political discussion and political ideas, but again, like that discussion, I hope leans more into the philosophy versus the, well, this fucking guy stands for this, and this fucking guy stands for that, and like you're never really getting anywhere, and people are kind of just farming off these little quick Google facts of whatever, because the internet is so massive that you can
Yes.
find data to
That's
back
part of the
up
problem now.
your viewpoint. It's and going back to you talking about the kids, like with the sex talking, like
Here we
like
go, yeah. Uncle Larry
getting
goes, yeah.
getting into like they don't want to be seen on the internet like this. The internet and technology is growing and evolving so much faster than humans. It's grown at an exponential rate that it started happening in the mid 90s with the birth of the internet. And now the free exchange of ideologies have changed the way that the entire world communicates and thinks and has information available to them. So there is a somewhat false sense of like the media doesn't serve the same purpose that it did.
Not
like
at all.
when we went to a 24-hour news cycle, also in the early 90s, like then news became entertainment. And when they
Car chases.
when they showed car chases, and when they showed Desert Storm, it was like watching a
Pew, pew,
fucking
pew, pew.
movie.
All those
and
cruise missiles
I mean, it's
shooting
just
off.
unbelievable. So like that
was wild.
changed the entire scope of things. But I feel like our kids will probably be the last one. Like they're going to lead the way when they're our age, giving information to their kids about how to communicate in this age of unlimited connectivity.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a different conversation. Right now, we just don't. Well, first off, the internet became people's diaries. What used to be internal thoughts now became a sounding board for every single human being. And when you're talking about, 8 billion people, call them, I don't know, 6, 7 billion that have, high-speed internet access and that are connected, those people are they're not all going to react the same to the same information.
Oh, God.
And so, and you're not going, like, with the odds of you catching someone on a bad day or in a shitty way, like at home or whatever, like, oh, hey, random person who just said something that I find so incredibly stupid, I'm going to make you feel like you are worth less than nothing because I don't know you. I'll never know you. I don't care to know you.
And this
as
feeds
far
my
as this
beast.
is all an anonymous exchange. But the internet is like fastly becoming this. It's not an anonymous exchange anymore. People are putting their names to what they're saying, and there's going to be a whole new decorum, I think, that's born from a generation of kids who grew up with social media from the get-go and began communicating with their friends from the get-go like this.
Sure.
We're still fighting a divide between never having internet and being able to talk side to side, side by side with people, going and seeing your neighbors every day, knowing every neighbor on your street's name. Like, we're going from that to this new thing where, like, not a whole bunch of us have like neighbors that we're super close to anymore. A lot of people's extended world outside of their home with their family is solely online, and so we're traversing down this path of a tribal existence again. Our tribe is online, and I do think that when you ask if we're purposefully divided, I think that there was a real split, and the voting still shows it. Like, it's still like, oh, it's only a 2-horse race. Like, a libertarian can't get a fucking fair shake. The Green Party can't get a fair shake. You still have that divide a little bit, but you're seeing it start to fractionate. throughout. You're seeing more diverse groups of thought. You're seeing groups come together that are truly made of love, man. That are like, fuck it, we're a couple thousand deep, and like this is a place you can come tell a dirty joke and feel fucking great. I think there is a purpose to kind of move markets and make things make sense from a centrally planned level of elite people, of elite families and elite world leaders, where it's like there is certainly a game going on. But I also think that we are so empowered by this tool, especially our kids are also going to be coming up primarily with the blockchain, which is going to change the fucking game. There will be a massive event that takes place in our kids' lifetime of this transfer of power between world governments and private organizations / people. That's all. I mean, private organizations already happen. Big businesses have certainly woven their way into every world government to basically make their own rules. Yeah, go ahead. What we got on the text line? Mike, put your camera on there.
Oh, put your camera on. Flash your camera on. This thing probably died.
It did.
All right, it's cool. We can do a battery shift real quick. I'm going to hit you with some audio still. Yeah, perfect. We're going to hit you with a commercial break. We'll go ahead and get the video fixed up. We got a new camera. It's a Sony A5100, so that's why the picture is so clear. But we're trying out a new battery, so we'll hit you with the commercial break, and we'll see you in a minute. Bye.
Hey girl, where you wanna go?
I don't care, I just love you.
Are you hungry? Do you wanna get something to eat?
I don't care, I'm kinda hungry.
Well, what sounds good?
Anything sounds good, you pick.
How about some Mexican?
No, I had that for lunch yesterday.
How about we get some Italian food?
Ew.
Okay, now you're not saying anything and just giving me a
want
look.
Something delicious.
What does that even mean?
I want to sit outside.
Applebee's?
Applebee's
No,
is
Applebee's.
gross.
Well,
I'm not
Applebee's is
eating
good.
Applebee's.
I don't know why you're always
Applebee's fries
on
are
Applebee's.
disgusting.
Applebee's is one of
They're
my favorite darn
gross.
places to go ever.
I'm not eating Applebee's.
I wanna go to Truman's. Let's go to Truman's. Soulard, go to Truman's. I wanna go to Truman's. In Soulard, take me to Truman's. We agree on Truman's. I love Truman's. Soulard, I love Truman's. Soulard. Truman, 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 Truman. Truman's and Soulard, a place we can all agree upon.
Shut up, you idiot.
James Carlton. James Carlton. James Carlton. You gotta get your insurance. Gotta get that State Farm insurance.
You think you found the best insurance agent in the game? Well, I got news for you. I did, and it's James Carlton. State Farm. CarltonInsurance.net.
961-4800.
Hey everybody, I'm just making this post as a little public service announcement. I recently had a roof leak, and I got online and called the #RoofBoys. They showed up and they didn't have a truck. They came out of the woods near my home, which was odd. When they showed up, I'm pretty sure they were children. The little one was aggressive. He was beating on my garage. He was shirtless and had a tattoo that said Bug Life. And the older one didn't have a ladder and said he would climb my roof by getting on the pillar, and he was slapping a spatula around, which I don't know what a spatula does for roofing. So if you want a reputable roofer, I recommend you go to Lifetime Roofing and Renovation, located in Webster Grove. They've been around since 2005, and they're grown men.
Hey guys, it's me, Kippy the Crazy Koala Bear, and I'm here to tell you about James Carlton Insurance.
Kids, quiet down.
It's the best.
Kids, quiet down and listen to Kippy.
Grown-ups need insurance, and Uncle James can help.
Right on.
Grown-ups need insurance. He's got the best reviews on Yelp. Grown-ups need insurance if they want to protect their house.
Yes, sir.
Grown-ups need insurance if they want to properly bury a spouse.
That's a bit morbid.
Grown-ups need insurance if they drive a truck.
Okay.
Grown-ups need insurance just so they don't get...
Whoa, Kippy, you can't...
Well, I was just
no,
going to
you
say
cannot.
get in trouble.
Okay, well, it
you
sounded
don't
like you
wanna
were going
get
to
in trouble.
say something else. James Carlton, State Farm Insurance. You can find them online at carltoninsurance.net, or you can call them at 314-961-4800.
Welcome back, everybody.
Welcome back. Ooh, welcome back.
It's time for the psychedelic scrapbook.
Changed the camera battery. New camera. What do you guys think?
The psychedelic scrapbook this week is God Encounter Experiences.
Okay.
Our buddy, well, we at least had drinks with him. Dr. Alan.
The thing I texted you, I was like, is this our guy?
No, not that one.
What?
Not
Because
that
we had
one.
two
Alan
of our
Davis.
buddies.
Alan
Oh,
Davis.
I love Alan Davis.
Alan
dude.
Davis, who was the one that fielded the questions after the
Yes,
movie.
he was great.
From Johns Hopkins and the Ohio State University.
Sharp mother.
The largest ever DMT survey travels to the fringes of psychedelic science. Basically, they ran a study with 30,000 recorded experiences of people who've had DMT experiences and claim to have seen entities. And they then dwindled this down to 2,500. So this is the largest anecdotal study of experiences done with DMT.
Sweet.
So Alan Davis is an adjunct associate professor currently working with the psychedelic research team at Johns Hopkins. His clinical experience and research interests have previously been grounded in exploring better ways to treat subjects suffering from trauma-based psychological problems. However, more recently, some of the work he's been involved in has investigated the weirder edges of psychedelic science. The latest study published by Davis and his team at Johns Hopkins is the largest survey of its type ever conducted. It explores the variety of experiences people have encountering autonomous strange entities after smoking the powerful fast-acting hallucinogen N,N-dimethyltryptamine, commonly referred to as DMT. This article is from newatlas.com. Speaking of New Atlas, Davis excitedly describes the team's finding while also recognizing how deeply strange this kind of science can be. I think of it as psychedelic science is already on the fringe in a lot of ways, and this is even further out there. Frankly, it lives on the fringe of all science. The specificity of this new research topic grew out of a survey by the Johns Hopkins team last year exploring what were deemed God encounter experiences triggered by classical psychedelic substances, and that study laid the foundation for a new, much more targeted investigation. So Rick Strassman did some experiments back in the 90s, and the head of the department at Johns Hopkins, Roland Griffiths, did 340 detailed DMT trip reports, and 66% of those experienced recounted interacting with independently existing entities. So there's a lot of discussion about machine elves, aliens, and very intriguing encounters with robots. So that made us very curious to try and figure out, even though that's what's reported online, is that actually what people are experiencing? I'm sorry, it was initially accessed by over 10,000 people, and after whittling down the responses, they got to 25, just a little bit over 2,500 responses. And those responses ultimately surprised the Johns Hopkins team. The breadth of experiences reported in the survey differed from the classically iconic narratives chronicled in Rick Strassman's landmark work. In fact, it differed so much, it really surprised us how many people were describing experiences that were very dissimilar. I don't think it means that those experiences weren't reported. We certainly had some people reporting experiences like that, but what I think our study shows is that there's a much larger variety of experience that people have. A being or guide were the most common descriptive terms used to label the entity people. The vast majority of respondents also used positive emotional labels like joy, trust, love, and kindness to describe the sense of their experience.
Okay.
A lot of the entity encounters that Strassman described were people being probed and prodded, kind of an alien-like situation, and that was relatively uncommon in this study. Certainly, people described that to some
tied
degree.
to a bed doing
No doubt. Yeah, squeezing a cuff on your arm. Certainly, people described that to some degree, but more what was reported was this benevolent, loving, joyful spirit or being that was there to communicate and relay information in some way.
That's friggin' bad as well.
So the majority of respondents labeled the experience as more real than everyday walking life, and 72% claimed the entity encountered continued to exist after the DMT experience.
Oh, that's the ticket. That's the ticket. Stays with you a little
Perhaps
bit.
one of the most intriguing findings in the study is that more than half of those subjects identifying as atheist or agnostic before the DMT experience no longer identified as such after the entity encounter. This type of decrease in atheistic self-identification following psychedelic experiences is not particularly novel finding. Prior research in psychedelic-induced spiritual experiences has seen similar results. However, Davis suggests it is remarkable that such a single short experience lasting no more than a half an hour in most instances can generate such powerful changes in subjective belief. What's fascinating to us is that people are describing themselves and their religious or belief orientation in one way, and there is a fundamental difference after the experience in terms of how they view the universe. And that's pretty remarkable that an experience can have that kind of profound shift and change. So,
buddy, I mean, when Queeve did DMT, it definitely changed his perspective on religion because it was a very religious experience. And my concept of God changes all the time, has changed so many different ways. You know, I was a white bearded guy in the clouds kid for a while, you know, and now I just see God in everything and all different ways. So yeah, on that article, yeah. And it's, you know, I'm glad they're collecting anecdotal evidence and we can move forward with that. But, you know, the researchers are out there. We're getting the work done. Yeah. Like, that's something, a call to you guys. Like, they're asking for people to
yeah,
give
you can go to Johns Hopkins, check out their, I think it was, I'm going to have to look
Maps
this up
because asking for it too.
Maps has it too. I mean, you can go to even the Beckley Foundation. There are several different organizations doing this. I'm just trying to think when we had Dr. Matthew Johnson on. We'll get you the link, but they have things that you can participate in all of the time, and it's super important because that's what they're building these studies on. Like, they have to have a framework based on anecdotal thought, and if over 10,000 people are saying something, and there are 2,500 of them that are reported that don't know each other from all over the world that are reporting a similar experience. Then it becomes pretty damn quantifiable. And so,
then you get into the field of morphic resonance where it's
no doubt learning on one side of the globe and it's instantly learned elsewhere. And I mean, there's something to that. Like when you get into the groove of some of the people that we follow, listen to podcasts or something like that. It's amazing how not only sometimes the crossover that happens, like with my own personal experience, to people that I like Aubrey Marcus or Duncan Trussell, for instance. Like there's been an instance on each one of their podcasts where I've been like, holy shit. Like,
I know.
We'll
said call each other and
I've said that thing. When Aubrey Marcus started describing the Laughing Jaguar clothing line,
dude,
I almost had to pull my car over on the highway. I was driving home from from a show one night. I'm on 21, and he starts talking about the Laughing Jaguar clothing line that they're doing, and I have told my ayahuasca experience with the Jovial Jaguar many times. I mean, that happened in 2013, and it was just this year, just a couple months ago, he's talking about that. And when I told Max Montrose the story, he's like, what's cool about that? And then blew my fucking brains out all over the fuck. Like, he was like, what's awesome about that? He's like, you didn't experience a Laughing Jaguar. You experienced the Laughing Jaguar. You guys experienced the same thing, the same spirit, the same totem, with the same personality and the same, character traits. And that was incredible to me. Well, then I was just listening to Duncan Trussell the other day, and he's having this conversation with this guy, and he's like, this has just got to be like the penultimate conversation. And the guy's like, oh no, I hope not, And Duncan's like, what do you mean? He's like, well, if it was the penultimate, that would mean it's just the next to the last episode. Like, penultimate just means next. And during a mushroom trip in 2012, I'm sitting in my buddy's backyard. My buddy is building this massive fire, and he throws his log on there. He's like, I have made fire. And I'm like, you are the penultimate man. He goes, no, I don't think I am, man. Like, I'm not the penultimate man. I'm like, no, you're the penultimate man. And he's like, I'm not the second to last man. And I was just, and so like as this conversation's going, and Duncan's reaction was, he's like, oh my God, thank you so much for teaching me what that word meant. Thank you. And like, this was exactly how I was talking to my buddy Ted. I'm like, thank you so, like, I've been using that wrong all along. For like, sure. I thought that word meant like just ultimate.
Yeah, me too. I just learned something right now. The thing, that kind of takes me back to what we got before the camera shut down for a second, is it's all connected, right? And I feel like this newer generation is going to know how connected we are.
Yeah.
But you say, we don't really know our neighbors, so we're less directly connected by the people around us. But I always thought like wars and stuff were started. I was like, it's very easy for a guy at the top of the food chain to go, you know why your life sucks? Because of these fucking people over here. These guys are pieces of shit trying to steal all of our shit and do bad things. You're like, those guys? Give me a gun.
Yeah.
I'm going to get them. And then his guy over there is feeding him the same bullshit. Now Oliver knows that, there are good people and pieces of shit from all around the world that play Fortnite that are,
sure.
This guy's British. He's a piece of garbage. Oh, this guy's British. He's great. You know what I mean? Sure. So they're already getting an edge. I remember I had a pen pal in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Pennsylvania? What's it like there, man?
Yeah.
And that was my biggest
it's
connection.
Good. It's good in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, now kids they know how big the world is. So hopefully that will help, because I got lambasted on our page. I'll address this right now. I said something about our nursing homes being shitholes.
You got lambasted.
Just because people were like, what about the nursing homes and COVID? Don't wear a mask because someone could go to a nursing home and then everyone's dead there. And I'm like, nursing homes suck balls. Half of the people in a nursing home are like, let me eat a bat.
Get me out of
That's
here.
it. Here's some chips.
Grandma, you know that Misa lady?
I just killed her. I think I just killed her. But I remember my grandma going, get me out of here. And they have locks on the doors and all this shit. I get it. I just think we should take
they're not
a
all
look.
created equally. And they
well,
provide
not if
us,
it's the Gatesworth and it costs, 15 grand to go.
Dude,
I don't know if that's the Gatesworth.
No, well, here's the deal. So many senior living places are easily 5 figures a month. Like, it's an insane amount of money.
Dude, they've taken all of my elders' money, has gone completely to nursing homes because they kept them alive long enough to say, and then guess what? When they ran out of money, they're like, okay, we can kind of care for him. And they always had to call and be like, my mom shit her pants and you guys haven't changed it in what seems like days. And I'm not here to be like, the people at fucking nursing homes are fucking. There's just a very good system in place for the baby boomers. We know they're getting older where they're like, fill them up in that fucking
Dude,
place
I'll tell
because
you
we
what.
get fucking. So if we're worried about that, and some guy was like, you can't just fucking blanket statement all of them. I was like, no, but I don't do that. But on this accord, I feel comfortable saying most of these places are absolute fucking shitholes for our elders in comparison to this free life. And I know some of them need to be like lifted up and all this shit. Let's fucking work on some robots for that shit. If we're working towards AI and robots, let's have an ass wiping robot that looks beautiful. You know what I mean? A 70-year-old man getting his ass wiped by just a beautiful fuckbot and we've taught how to fucking wipe asses.
Oh, no.
Please, let's do that.
Oh no.
Yes, that.
Okay,
yes.
all right.
And
Yeah,
so,
I'm with it.
so, and they always stink. We haven't found an air purifying system that you can't go in there. I remember I was eating Skittles. I used to work at one, and I would eat Skittles and go in there and be like, well, I can't eat these Skittles ever again. Like the smell has permeated that into my mouth. I had to leave the Skittles outside of the goddamn building.
You have a lot. You have real trauma attached to nursing homes.
Oh, dude, I hate them. I just think there's a better way to be. I'd rather them fucking graze in fields like free range fucking cattle than the shit they got to do at. And my grandma's like roommate was always like, turn the TV down. And I'm like, this is fucking the worst college in history. Like, this is dormitory. This should be the best time of your goddamn life. You worked so hard for years and years and years just to end up here.
Yeah.
And it's really like, we got fish tanks, a giant saltwater fish tank that the upkeep's about $8,000 a month, and these fish eats it. They ain't free, and we got the people can go 8 hours a day of fucking staring at these fucking lionfish, and they're just, oh, this is what life has come to. This is phenomenal. So I don't hate nursing home people. Anything. I think there is a system in place that is taking advantage of our elderly, and I think we're too busy to do anything about it right now.
Yeah.
My biggest problem is in our society, it's busy, busy, busy. Right now, we're learning from quarantine, like, oh, fuck, I don't have to be so busy. I can check out more of my kids' shit. I can work from home a little bit. I can take care of the parents. I can do way more of all that shit I thought, rather than be like, I got to sit in an hour of traffic a day and work 8 hours a day, and I fucking got to drive this far to work, and it's like, is that what we're meant to do? Because there are so many professional fucking time wasters. How many people have gotten so good? I'm talking to you. If you go to work and you're like, I'm really good at doing nothing all day, yo. I saw a lady at the fucking gas station today. She's making mini tacos for this guy. The line is around the building. We can't social distance when there's 14 people in a 7-Eleven. We're all like, you here? No, me, 6 feet over here. I gotta get down that aisle. What do I? Oh, okay. So we're all dealing with that. The lady's making these tacos. She puts them in like the oven. There's a line. Get your ass back to the register and pipe somebody out while you're waiting for these things to crisp up. So she's asking the kid, and the kid's like, oh, can I get them extra crispy? And she's like, you want these things extra crispy? Okay. And she's acting like she's a short order cook over by these damn things. She's this guy to throw them in the oven. Get your ass back in line and serve the people. People are professional damn time wasters. She's just got really good at being like, you want them extra crispy? I'm not going to check out another customer because I'm going to be really good to this taco guy. It's just because I'm a lazy piece of shit that doesn't want to do it. That's what's going on. All of the freaking people. We can do better. That's the whole thing, man. Free range geriatrics. Free range geriatrics. But that's where I stand on it. So I wanted to offer some solutions to my division problem. Okay? Because I got lambasted for the whole nursing home thing. And the way we fix the nursing homes is we become more conscious and kind and get more time and money. So I don't know how that's a whole fucking another deal. But so I think we're rapidly advancing a place of the singularity and also a era of connectivity that hopefully the division we're turning on. A lot more people. Pretty soon, we're going to see a lot of politicians who are like, I trip mushrooms. How long? 5-10 years ago, it was like, I smoked weed once as a politician. People were like, oh, fuck, that's probably not a good political move. But I smoked a little weed too. Now it's to the point where, yeah, I'm for cannabis legalization. Okay, boom, we got you. I'm on board. I get it now. Wait till about 10 years when a politician is addressing his constituents and saying, "Oh yeah, on this one journey I had in the woods, made me realize that I can balance the budget and make these things better for our public transit. And I got all these ideas of how to turn this city on, baby." It's like, oh, we did it. We finally did it. And we're headed there. So don't worry about a thing.
That was great, man.
yeah, thank you. I felt good about that.
Yeah, so God encounters, man, they're awesome.
They are good.
I've had a few.
The guy,
I've had a few.
The thing about the DMT experience was it was very church-like, very stained glassy, and I feel like I lost my way when I kind of lost God, my perception of God, when I was kind of like, there's nothing, but I had a very negative sense. There's nothing. Why shouldn't I shit on people? I'm shit on people. There's nothing. When it's like, yeah, there's nothing, but you can also make you feel good even if you believe in nothing. You can also be like, oh, I did kind things for people. I feel pretty fucking good about that. You know?
Yeah. I heard I actually listened to a Duncan Trussell podcast with Mitch Horowitz, and they were talking about Satanism and how
He's got a few of those episodes.
What we've been taught about it, is like this idea that, we have this idea of like devil worship. And he was talking about this sect of Satanism that is just basically this ultimate, not contrarian, but truth seeker, I guess,
Okay.
And so he was talking about how the snake is the hero in the story of Adam and Eve. Yeah. Because without the snake, what fucking story do we have to tell?
Yep.
That's
I think I've heard this
the snake
one.
is our free will.
Yep.
And so like,
or is this a new one?
This was the newest one, but they've had
Okay.
conversations like that before. I think he's written it in a book.
Yeah, because I've heard that
Mitch
theory
Horowitz
before.
he's a pretty brilliant guy, and I certainly from my God encounter, my DMT experience, or whether that's through ayahuasca or psilocybin, like I've had a few of those where, holy shit, I've been shown things that are just so big and so intricate and complex, and yet seems just natural. Like that's just what it is. I've been convinced of God's existence and everything, and I've been completely turned on. Like I always say I have room in my ethos for a little bit of everything, because none of us know. I tell my kids, anybody that tells you they know, run as far away as you can from them. Anybody that says they know about God, or they tell you what God is, and it looks like anything more than, if it looks like a person or just run away from that person. We don't have those answers.
Run away from
We
them.
don't have those ansers. Okay, get away.
Your kids see those. What is it? The people in the ties.
Yeah, the nice little Mormons.
Yeah, they're
like,
sweetest people on earth.
They really are. I got a couple I wave
They are
to
the
every single
sweetest
day. I
people
have
on
a ton of Mormon friends, man.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
yeah, they're great people.
That makes me
ton.
think you kind of dislike Mormons, and you're like, I got.
Well,
a
you
ton
said
of friends.
you said the tie.
Yeah, isn't that Church of Latter-day Saints?
Yeah, what do you think
Mormons.
the Mormons are, bud?
I know.
Yeah.
I just wanted everybody to know.
Okay, right on.
No,
Yeah,
and they
check
are.
out your
I
local
worked with a
chapter.
lot of them, so
Cool, man. Yeah, right on. Yeah, that
they're cool.
validates you too, bro.
Cool.
No, but the idea is like
Protestants
I
are
have
the only
room
one
in
who
my
got it
ethos.
right,
I have room in my ethos for a little bit of everything, and so that at least opens me up to that conversation that little guilty masturbator would have never entertained. You know what I mean?
You knew my nickname?
Yeah, yeah, called you that too.
Yeah. The GMB, the Guilty Masturbation Boys. That's our new fucking name of the show.
But it opened up God in such a way that represented the truth that it never had before. I was saying a prayer the other night before I went on a little journey, allegedly, and
Greg was doing.
Yeah,
all
it was
that
Greg.
Greg does that shit. He's a fucking heathen.
Man, when I sit down and I pray like that, and when I'm really putting the you know,
putting on the news?
the thought into it, the intention into it. Like it still, I mean, it raises goosebumps on me.
yeah,
like
dude,
big
that's
goosebumps.
the shit, baby.
Like there is a definite connection.
That's not
with,
a goosebump.
with
That's
something.
raising in your,
No,
in your
no. Well, it also does
Well, a
that.
big
I'm gonna
goosebump.
start praying right now. Put on some protective headwear.
Me too. No,
But-
you're right though. That's a psychedelic within the psychedelic experience.
Sure.
When you can
Yeah.
really delve into it, immerse yourself in the experience. Because a lot of times, and when we were growing up, Hail Mary, full of grace,
So
Lord
that's
is
the deal.
with thee. This is blessed art that, you know, you're just going through the motions every day. I remember every once in a while we would say the rosary with like a person. Once you get into it, after a little while, you're like, whoa, I'm tranced out.
Totally,
on
that's
this
meditation,
rosary.
just like a malabate.
No
Yeah,
doubt,
no doubt.
dude.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. You know, it's,
There are plenty of things that I think I learned through Catholicism, and I was always into the spiritual aspect of church. Like I loved the magic, the idea of the blood, of the wine turning into blood, no matter how metaphorical it was. Like I love the idea. Like, did they have bells in your church? Like when the
I'm gonna get them for this. Here, that's a perfect segue, buddy. Because me and Mike are gonna.
we had Resurrection had the coolest.
Very first one. Me and Mike are gonna start making these.
Those are dope, man.
But we were talking about putting those bells
On the news.
on the news and on top of here because those bells that you jingled,
Yeah.
I couldn't be an altar boy anymore because I rang them all at the wrong time, and then they thought they were like,
You got a
just
little
wanted to hear
overzealous
the-"
with
yeah,
the
and I
bells?
was like, I did want to hear the bells at first. Then I got.
Well,
the
we had
timing
like
wrong.
a little tiny one, right? Like
Oh,
a
we had
little
like a
ding,
6-shot, like a
and
6-shooter.
then like the year after I became an altar boy, we got this thing that was like a handle, and you twist it, and it just it
was
rang
the
through
best,
the. It was
dude.
one
when
of
it
the
turned
best.
the page, I believe, wasn't it? That's what we
Well,
did
it would always be like when okay. So if the priest is blessing the host or blessing the wine, he would always be kind of, he would hold it up.
Oh, yeah.
Take this, my body, and eat it.
Yeah.
Take this, my blood, and drink it. And then whenever he'd
This
take it
is
down,
the body
and then
of
he would
Christ.
genuflect
Yeah,
in front,
that's what they
in
would
front
do.
of it, and then he would
See,
come
I
up
still
and take
don't
it.
know.
Yeah.
I thought it was a page turning.
Yeah, you're a
situation.
liability on that.
Yeah,
thing,
I was.
man.
I
The
did
rhythm
it once.
section is
I
out of
did
step.
it once, and they're like, no more, because they thought I was dicking around. I'm like, I was nervous
That's
as
a
fuck.
significant moment, like in the service, right? Like I remember,
No doubt.
I remember one of the priests
was
saying,
geared
like,
up
if you
for
don't
it.
pay attention to anything, just buy into that part. I remember him. I'm like, oh, okay.
I blew it.
So anyway, like I was always into the pomp and circumstance and the magic.
Of course you were.
For fuck sure, man. Like it's pretty cool, man. Like
You blue balling bastard.
yeah, for sure. I was into that shit, man. But a lot of that, reverence, I think, like it gave me an appreciation for ceremony. Yeah. But I found myself years ago, like I forgot how to pray, which seemed like such a fucking weird thing to say. Yeah. Because I didn't believe in saying like the playbook prayers that we were taught in Catholic school because they weren't resonating with me. I just wanted to have a conversation with God, and when I would forget how to pray. Like I would forget what I wanted to say to him, and it was really, or her, or it, or like
You
I like
fucking chauvinistic.
such a son of a bitch.
God
but like
dang.
I couldn't remember how what I even wanted to say, and I found that like I have to lead we play things I love. We go around at my house when we're at the dinner table. What are we grateful for today? Like I think that those are little micro prayers, right? Like they're you're giving thanks to those things. Like so many times my prayers are in thanks or and thanks for different things. But I forgot how to pray. And I think psychedelics like immediately gave me that structure back to where I'm not necessarily praying to a who, but I'm certainly praying to a what. And
Is your inner monologue always a prayer?
I
Even
don't
in the
know.
mundane shit?
I mean,
you know what
I think that's the idea of magic, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's the idea of kind of what we've talked about this, what you voice into the world, what you voice into the. I mean, you're putting it out there, and the universe typically, pays it in kind. But yeah, as far as your thoughts go, I mean, I don't know.
Every time I used to take a poop back in the day because you didn't have things to read, so I'd be like, "What are you doing today?" "Oh, I'm doing pretty good." Like have this conversation with a pseudo god in the shitter Just every day having
convenient
this.
time.
Yeah, I was just like, I got 5 minutes to.
I mean, he's got a sense of humor. She's got a sense of humor.
Yeah, I'm like, he's already
she made
watching
you
me
have to
jerk
do
off.
that. He made you have to do that. So you might as well just have a
And
conversation.
I wasn't worried about him watching me or anything, but now look.
Mike, we got anything on the line?
Fucking pervert.
Yeah,
we got
Mr.
anything.
Bliss. It's no wonder why you're marrying a witch. Green with Envy. Please check out my YouTube channel. I do reviews on cannabis products. I also have an Instagram account.
Who said that? Green with
Green with
Envy.
Envy.
Who is that? Please check out my YouTube channel. I do reviews. You're on a different
Christopher,
YouTube
absolutely.
channel.
This
Wait. I'm not done with this person
Here
yet.
we
Green
go.
with Envy. We
Well,
know
yeah,
the-
they hang out on. I think it's.
Is this okay?
Yeah, fine. They're fine. Yeah, they participate in the show all the time.
Who are you, Green with Envy? No, please check out their YouTube channel for real. But if they beat us in subscribers, I will kill myself. I'm kidding. I had to throw one of those jokes in there. I don't like to do that anymore, but I did it. Go ahead, Mike.
All right,
with the rest of
Jennifer
them.
Barra replying to Tiffany Jones. Chicken tenders from the gas station, laughing out loud. I was on the road most of the day and wasn't cooking when I got home. Besides, Garrett is gone, so really no point in cooking. Christopher Rachel Crawford. I do that when I have to drive anywhere. Okay. That's prayer time. You pray when you masturbate. From Kessler.
Sex magic.
Sex magic.
Sex magic's a thing.
Ready?
Yeah, sure.
You gonna bleep something? Are you gonna bleep something?
No, I was just,
We like
so do we like internet. So do
It's the streaming picks of the week.
Netflix.
It's the streaming picks of the week. And Hulu TV streaming picks of the week. We like the internet too. We like the internet too. We like the internet too.
What are you watching this week, Steve?
Birds of Paradise all day, every day. Birds of Paradise all day, every day.
Tell me about some Birds of Paradise.
Okay,
What is this
one's
all about?
on Netflix, and it's called Dancing with the Birds. 51 minutes long. I think in the whatchamacallit, the what was that, Planet Earth series, they did maybe a portion on Birds of Paradise, so you
Yes,
got a little
you are
taste
correct.
of them. Thank you. So you got a little taste of them back in the day, and just the weird shit they do. And I'm big into animal. My newest thing, like I just keep saying over to myself, oh fucking, because I'm so confused with the COVID and the conspiracies, and so many people divided on so many things. I'm like, you know what? I trust nature, and I trust the storm. I trust that. And you were saying, nature mimics other shit. And I'm like,
nature's
I
a big
trust
old
that.
fat liar.
I trust that it's going to lie to me sometimes.
Yeah.
I just trust in it. And whatever it does, I'm just okay with. That's where I'm trying to live. I'm not trying to detect the new fucking Da Vinci Code. I can't do it. I don't want no part of that shit, man. So then what I do
I
with
think I want some of that cocaine.
you don't want no part of this shit. Make all your bad feelings good ones.
It makes sex even better.
You can't. It's not habit forming. So with the Birds of Paradise, I love nature and I love the way animals have evolved. I told Jen when we were watching it, I feel like in the old adage of God created the animals and did all this shit. And if God created the animals, then his drunk eldest son that kind of didn't have it figured out, they're like, hey, buddy, you get to go over to New Zealand, go design all the Birds of Paradise. And he's like, fucking sweet. He's hitting his DMT pen. He's like, it's just a pen to him, though, because he's God. So it's just fucking...
He's just hitting himself.
Yeah, exactly. And so he's like, this one's going to have a plumage on its head, and it dances around this nest it makes for 7 years, and then it's going to mimic all of the jungle noises to get the girl to come, and then they're going to do this hide-and-go-seek game for 25 minutes, and then the hide-and-go-seek game turns into him with his plumage chasing her around, and then they fuck for 12 seconds, and it's over. And I'm like, who decided this was the way? Because tigers, you're like, oh, they can be camouflaged. And, a male lion has a big, thick neck, maybe because other lions tried to bite him on the neck. And then the thickest main lions made it to the next and they passed their seed. And, all these animals have all these armadillos have armor and carp are built a certain way. And alligators haven't changed for years because they're fine. And it's like birds of paradise. Oh, y'all drunk. I mean, what you doing? What's happened to you guys? Like, I don't know what happened to those guys.
Banging it out, huh?
They're amazing. They are
wonderful.
truly. The one mimics. It picks up like it'll go through all of the birds in the forest that it hears. It'll go through like different noises it hears. One did like a chainsaw and like a camera shutter, and then one was mimicking children playing. And I was like, this is they're playing a recording of something else.
It was insane.
It is insane, dude. So if you check it out, it's called Dancing with the Birds. It's just a good hour to get lost. And so many times I was like, what the fuck is going on? And Jenny and I just turned on music. We did a little,
sure.
where we were like, okay, let's do this and put on some music and watch this. And we were blown away. Netflix. Dancing
Man,
with
they don't fuck around when it comes to nature documentaries.
Those new cameras that they got about 5-10
Dude,
years ago.
they're unbelievable.
That one about the mushrooms with the mushrooms growing in the forest. That's one of the coolest ones in the world.
I'll tell you what else. Like if this is just a little bonus. Like if you can rent Fantastic Fungi right now, and it's
Sweet.
Louis Schwartzberg did it.
Is that the one with all the growing and
Paul
stuff?
Stamets, like this is different than what's on Netflix.
Oh.
This is a feature-length deal that Louis Schwartzberg did with Paul Stamets.
Oh, really?
Oh, dude. It goes deep into mushrooms. Fantastic Fungi.
Okay.
You can rent it. It's badass. You can rent it out through Amazon. It's like actually, I think you have to rent it from their site, maybe fantasticfungi.com. But it's
Okay.
real deal Holyfield.
Okay.
Mikey, what are you watching?
So right now.
Put your camera on.
Both.
I don't think it'll work.
Oh.
Yeah, it's down there.
All right, so both Jessicas stole my idea. They watched The Lovebirds and The Wrong Missy. I watched that with Joanna, and dude, I'm not gonna lie.
I didn't steal your
laughed my
idea.
ass off.
Yeah.
Well, it's right there.
Yeah.
They beat me to it.
I started Lovebirds. I fell asleep.
Yeah.
But I started it really late. I'll give it a shot.
Yeah, it's
'Cause
funny.
I like what's his name?
CBD edibles.
Kumanjali or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
From
Silicon Valley.
Silicon Valley.
So
thank
yeah,
you.
that's Kumai Nanjiani and Issa Rae in Lovebirds, and Lauren Lapkus, David Spade, Molly Sims, and Wrong Missy.
Pretty funny. Which one was better?
I'd go with The Wrong Missy.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm going to tell you right now. Did you watch The Wrong Missy?
I haven't yet. No.
I think it's
I'll
the
give it a go.
strongest female comedic performance I have ever seen in my life. Granted, I was coming off the Blade Down Broadway,
Okay.
so I was feeling great.
Yeah,
Like,
every
little
a big
thing,
one,
like
bud.
when we got hit $3,000, like little things, I'm just like, just like laughing to myself.
What are
and
some
I'm like,
great
"You're a piece of
comedic
shit."
female roles?
I mean, Bridesmaids is a great movie. There's some great stuff in there. There's they named a few.
I thought the movie with fucking
Night-
Christina Applegate and Selma Blair and
Bad Moms.
no, this is an old movie, dude. This is like going back to like around.
I don't know.
Bad Moms is pretty funny.
Yeah, and there's one
Now,
like Night Out.
now you know
Date
my.
Night.
I think that now you're talking about a lead because
This is just one single lead. You know
yeah,
how Will
because
Ferrell
what's her face is the funniest gal in Hollywood, the
Yes.
one on
So
the
no,
deeds. No, I'm talking about Kristen Wiig's pretty funny too, but
No, I'm talking about the blonde chick who does Justin Bieber and
Kate McKinnon.
Yes.
I think that
Hilarious. The chick from The Goods. She
yes,
is
yes.
awesome.
The chick from The Goods and
Yes.
Step Brothers, and
Yes.
and she's in Bad Moms, and Bad Moms is hilarious.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah,
Bad Moms
is
2
a-
is
was a
maybe one
funny
of the
flick.
worst
I have
movies
not
of all
watched
time.
Bad Moms 2.
I had to turn it off. Yep.
Really? That bad? Huh?
It was.
Were they just going for cheap jokes?
The
'Cause that
moms are
sucks.
there, and it was bad. It was just bad.
Okay, I'm with you.
But as far as
Okay.
female roles go, in Talladega Nights, you feel like they just told Will Ferrell, just go. Just here's the scene, just go.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
what they did to her, and she
Well, that's-
nailed it.
I-
Now, a lot of the women I've talked to hate her. Hated it, didn't like her, thought she was annoying.
Okay.
But I fucking chuckled
I'll
a few
check it
times.
out.
Because, it's like, I feel like the Amy Schumer came out for a while, and I was like, oh, she's hilarious. But then she's always like, look at my fat hairy poon, or like she'd always be like, she'd have to just be raunchy for raunchy's sake. I thought for a minute there,
Okay.
where it was like I got to keep up with the raunchy guy jokes, and it's like you don't have to.
She and
do
Tina
that.
Fey were.
Tina Fey's hilarious.
They were
Amy
on the
Poehler
top
is
for a while.
hilarious.
Yeah, that's who you were talking about. Huh?
Amy Poehler?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, I thought that's who you said you were talking about.
No.
Who's talking about the
Amy
big hairy
Schumer.
poon? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like she started to push
She's
the
brutal.
envelope. But this chick, I mean, she says some raunchy shit, but she's like goofy looking, and she is, but she's really pretty too.
Sure. Okay.
She just doesn't care. I just think that's cool that she like doesn't care, man.
Okay, I'm with it. I'll check it out.
You got to check it out just because you're, betrothed is named Missy, and that's just kind of a funny thing.
Okay. Well, they're all the wrong Missy that aren't her.
Schumer got too political, says Brian. You're too political.
Yeah, shut up, Brian. I watched. It's kind of a slow week. Like I said, I started that Lovebirds the other day. I was into it. I can see where it's probably got a little potential going for it. I only got about 20 minutes into it, so maybe it's got some juice. I don't know. And then I also especially now that Land's home, I started Avatar, the animated series, because I've only seen the movie and I've heard great things about the cartoon. I've never watched the cartoon.
The
anime? It's not really. I mean, it is, but it's Nickelodeon.
cartoon.
It's Nickelodeon anime. Like it was a Nickelodeon cartoon.
Oh, really?
Pretty fucking good so far, man. Like it's pretty neat. But what I watched in its entirety is the big flower fight.
I started it 2 episodes in. It became a little much.
It's very repetitive.
I love that.
Hank and they're
Oh,
Hank and Jan
They're
are
on a
freaks.
different level.
They are, and you'd be kind of surprised. They rock it, and dude, every week they bring the fucking style, man. Like it's unbelievable.
Yeah, their first 2 things. One was
super
like,
eccentric. I felt they were the reason I finished the show because I fell in love with the two of them. I wanted to see what they were gonna
so
wear.
cool,
like
man.
just a cool couple, and honestly, like. The parody and talent was really pretty good. So they kind of like really came out the gate strong, but some other people really caught up and made some fucking awesome stuff. And then the final project, like it was down to like the final 3, and they just have like a massive project that they had 2 days to complete. But yeah, it's a repetitive a formula where it's very simple. Here's what you got to build. You got 15 hours to do it. Knock yourselves out. But they got welded structures in there. They get really creative with how they do it, and there turns out to be some pretty fucking cool flower art. And it made me, when I started watching it, made me think of our friend Matt Blind, because he's like a
dude right there,
a floral artist. Like he like last year he like traveled to Italy to do that, and like that was my like introduction to floristry. Like I know that like florists take pride, and you can spend a lot of money on great arrangements and everything, but I'd never seen like these sculpture competitions with them, and it's a pretty cool medium, man.
Oh yeah,
Jen
Jen used to work at a florist, and she loved it.
It was
just being
pretty
around
neat.
flowers all the time.
No
It's
doubt,
pretty cool,
dude. And I'll
man.
tell you what, if there's anything I am so grateful for with this quarantine, it's the fact that we've had a chance to kind of focus on home. I can't wait to get my mower back. But we've got our garden. I know we've got our garden pretty well. I built the garden box, and all those fucking tires that I've been bitching about forever are now individual planters. And we got a setup, man. And like I'm super excited. Like it has turned. I am not a homebody. I think if and Miss being a Cancer very much so is a homebody, and like I think it's been fucking awesome for it to focus my attention on home, because I'm just kind of always on the go, and a lot of things that have been overlooked for a long time have gotten done, and I'm fucking super juiced to give life to something. After talking to Bo, really, and next week we're going to have Bo again on Thursday, Stay at Home Grow Series. We're going to meet up with Clay and Chris Smith. I'm super excited about that. It's a full week, and it's going to be awesome, but just talking to Bo, like, it piqued my interest in growing, and something like my dad always really like loved tinkering around in the garden. It was like something that he and my mom did. Yeah. It was never really anything I had too big of an interest in, but as I'm around more people that are cultivating different kinds of plants, it has cool, it is cool, man. And like it is, it's playing God. It's being an extension of God. You are giving life to something, and that is and caring for it through
Psychedelic
that. Like
experience,
it's fucking
baby.
cool, man. And so Missy, like with all the studying and stuff that she's been doing, just like how we want to map this thing out and everything, like it's been really fun to see how juiced she is about it, and by proxy, I'm fucking juiced about it. So.
Yeah, that's cool.
So the big flower fight, it was fun. It was cool. Like it hit on all corners. I'm an art documentary guy. You know, it was a game show, and like super. Like those dudes' personality was great. You know,
Really
and
unique,
it was
cool
some
dudes.
pretty cool. A Dutch and a Dane. You know, like awesome.
Just not giving a shit.
Not
either,
giving
man.
a fuck, man. Awesome, and setting the fucking standard for what cool looks like.
So cool, man.
We gonna sing a song this week?
That's how we end every show now.
What's we end every show now, singing songs, and we need a
What is a
topic,
capo?
guys.
We can talk about the Spanish Society because I want to talk about Brian Kessler's
Love
on
you,
the
Brian.
line. Brian Kessler, the Spanish Society Outreach Society, Spanish Outreach Society. What's
Spanish
the name
Society
of it?
Outreach.
Spanish Society Outreach. That's it.
Are you making fun of the guy?
He's
right
got to
now?
come up with a better name than that. That's what I'm saying. Something a little catchy. Maybe like Mo Can Spanish Society. But we're gonna start doing some live shows there.
I can't
and
wait, man.
Making some suitcase drums. I'm gonna get Brian one. We're both gonna play guitars up there. Do a little open mic night. Just have a little bit of fun. So maybe we give you a taste of just we make up songs on the spot. Have a little fun. You can give us a topic or not. We'll just
Yeah.
sing
What
about
do
the
you guys
Spanish
got a
Society.
topic? They got one. They got one up there yet?
But
SE Outreach.
SC
Yeah.
Outreach, Steve Elgin
Oh,
Outreach.
Sociedad Española Outreach.
Steve Elgin Outreach. But thanks, James Carlton. Everyone on our page should have him as insurance. Everyone on our page should.
You're just making insurance harder on yourself not having him.
Everyone should have him. I'm sorry.
You're gonna save money. You're gonna have better coverage. It's a win-win. He's awesome. I just called him the other day. I was like, James, I have towing on my package. I was just thinking about it, like because we just recently, Missy's car had to be towed to the dealership. We don't live anywhere near the dealership, and I was just
help me
thinking about that, and then it made me wonder about my van, and my van did have towing, and so I'm like rock and roll, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. You like offered me that. You're like, Craig, I think I can save you money and get you towing on the package because that's just what he does. He just calls you up and he's like, I think I can do a little better for you.
I know, dude. He's the best.
He's the best. CarltonInsurance.net. And I'll tell you what, like, it's been raining. It's Bullswolf.
Bullswolf?
It's been raining. It's Bullswolf.
Okay.
From Georgia.
I like Lunchables.
He likes the Lunchables. We should do it. We should do a whole episode with Sergey and hey, bud.
Oh no.
We'll do a whole episode, bud.
We can't.
Why not?
They'll kill us.
We'd have so much fun, you know. Anyway, it's been raining a lot. There's been storms, branches falling, wind going like crazy. You should hit up Lifetime Roofing and Renovation, lifetimestl.com, 314-800-0426.
Bleacher Dads.
Bleacher Dads is the subject? Okay. Get me started. I got
Sorry
it.
for cutting you off.
Hey, up! Can you fucking see anything?
Get on your horse, Steve. That's what my dad would always say. Get on your
Captain
horse.
Wheels over there. He's getting the lead. Hit the cutoff man.
Well, nailed that one.
Yep. Next topic.
Lifetime Roofing.
Roof.
They're the best.
They are the best. True Man's and Soulard, dude.
Dude, man.
It's where I go when I want to get a little sniff of snooch. You know what I mean?
Snooch party.
Oh, it might be a snooch party.
Snooch party.
Native hemp extract. If you go to HoosierSophisticate.com, you click on the Native Hemp Extract tab. It's going to take you to Native Hemp website.
Murder Hornets.
When you put HOSO at checkout, you're going to save another $35 off the bottle. I haven't even been saying it the last few weeks because I didn't know I could advertise it. But I'm saving you another $35, baby. HOSO at checkout. Native Hemp Extract. Go to HoosierSophisticate.com. Click on the tab.
What a
Sweet
show.
Leaf. Sweet Leaf Emporium, bud.
They make all this possible.
We have been able to do so much good. We're currently up to $300 on this pipe right here.
And you said these complete assholes wouldn't raise more than $20.
I did. I said there's not a chance.
You proved him wrong.
We've raised $300, $5 a chance. If you throw $5 at that, on Steve's got a little Fundly page posted. All the proceeds are going to Canines for Camo. We're just trying to make a little
7%
change.
or like point something percent will go to fucking Funly.
Oh, and then there's those fucking thieves. So,
Bleacher dads,
bleacher dads,
bleacher dads, bleacher dads, bleacher dads, bleacher dads. Well, I saw my dad in the bleachers. He said, I love you so. But he said, hey, I won't love you anymore. You better run. I'm gonna say one.
so hustle, boy, around the back. Be a good lad.
Yeah. Hustle, boy, and come running home. A home run's what the team needs right now.
Don't let me down.
Don't
The weight
let
of
me-
the world is in your hands in this little league game. Dig into the box, stare the pitcher down, and by God, get your right elbow up. Get it up. Dropping your shoulder.
Just wing it in there, boy. Just throw the ball and feel that joy. If you lose, you gotta walk home. If you lose, well, you're sleeping alone. 'Cause I only love a winner. If you jerk off, you're a sinner. Dad only loves a winner. Bleacher dad, bleacher dad. One more verse?
Sure.
Go ahead.
I got nothing.
Bleacher dad tried to teach me something. He said, hey, young boy, your pitching's really something. And I said, I'm gonna be a professional ball player one day. And he said, if you keep batting like that, you'll never even play on this team. And
Not
we're
a
shitty.
fucking chance.
We're really bad. If you can't make this team, then
Then you
I'm gonna
upset your
punch
dad.
Turn two, boy! Turn two, boy!
If you'd have stepped up and tagged the guy on the way to third, you could have had 3, but this is only 4th grade, and you haven't figured out the simple mechanics of Little League Baseball, and you bring shame upon your family's name, and I just wish you would do your dad proud.
Bleach your dad proud! Bleach your dad proud! Bleach your dad?
No, bleach your dad. Bleach your dad.
Bleach your dad. Bleach your dad. Have a good night.
Et nomine Patre, et Filii, et Spiritus Sancti. Amen.
And the logo. Mike's off. Mike's off, Mike. God
Turn the mics off, Mike.